hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Hallelujah. Father Yahweh, thank you for another day that you have set before us, your Shabbat. Yahweh, thank you for all that you have done for us. Thank you for all that you have done throughout the face of this earth. Continue to be with us as a people. Continue to be with us as a nation. Help us all to come together as one like mind, to come to you, Yahweh. Help us, Yahweh, to be strengthened through you and your son, Yahshua Ha-MessiYah. Help us to strengthen our relationships between one another, brethren. Help us to strengthen our relationships in our families. And first and foremost, help us to strengthen our relationship to you, Almighty Yahweh. Yahweh, once we come to this way, once you open our eyes to this way of life, help us to stay in it. Help us to keep our minds focused on you. Help lighten our path through your Son, the lights you have set before us. Let them be that guide to us on what way to walk. Help us to just continue to follow that light. And once we continue to follow in that light, don't let anything in this world distract us. Once we continue to walk in this way of life, nothing in this world should matter. Yahweh, help us to focus on those things that you have promised us, those heavenly things that you have promised us. Because you do not lie. You have promised us something great as long as we continue to stay in the way, as long as we continue to endure to the end. Yahweh, help us to get that endurance like Job had. Help us to love you, Yahweh. As long as we love you, we will do your will. Yahweh, continue to protect us from any hurt, harm, and danger. Continue to strengthen us in every trial, every tribulation that we may go through. Strengthen us so nothing may be able to bend us. Nothing may be able to throw us off that straight and narrow path. In Yahshua Ha-MessiYah's name, we pray. Hallelujah. House of Israel, you may be seated. Today, I would like to read a passage from 1 Thessalonians. This is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, starting at the first verse. And it says, "Now, brothers, about times and dates we do not need to write to you, for you know very well that the day of Yahweh will come like a thief in the night. While people are saying peace and safety, destruction will come on them suddenly as labor pains on a pregnant woman. They will not escape. But you, brothers, are not in darkness, so that this day should surprise you like a thief. You are all sons of the light and sons of the day. We do not belong to the night or to the darkness. So then, let us not be like others who are asleep, but let us be alert and self-controlled. For those who sleep, sleep at night, and those who get drunk at night. But since we belong to the day, let us be self-controlled, putting on faith and love as a breastplate, and the hope of salvation as a helmet. For Yah did not appoint us to suffer wrath, but to receive salvation through Yahshua Ha-MessiYah. He died for us so that whether we are awake or asleep, we may live together with him. Therefore, encourage one another and build each other up, just as in fact you are doing. Now we ask you, brothers, to respect those who work hard among you, who are over you in the master, and who admonishes you. Hold them in the highest regard and love because of their work. Live in peace with each other. And we urge you, brothers, warn those who are idle, encourage the timid, help the weak, be patient with everyone. Make sure that nobody pays back wrong for wrong, but always try to be kind to each other and to everyone else. Be joyful always, pray continually, give Torah in all circumstances, for this is Yah's will for you and Yahshua HaMashiach. Do not put out the Ruach's fire. Do not treat prophecies with contempt. Test everything. Hold on to the good. Avoid every kind of evil. And may Yahweh himself, the Elohim of peace, sanctify you through and through. May your whole Ruach, soul, and body be kept blameless at the coming of Yahshua HaMashiach. The one who calls you is faithful, and he will do it. Hallelujah. And Yahweh wants us to just continue in this way, just continue to hold on to his hand, Israel. He gives us ample time to get it right in this lifetime. So while we had this time, seek out Yahweh and do the things that he commands. And because we don't have that much time, you know, these are the last days. So we don't want to be unprepared when Yahshua HaMashiach comes. We want to be that chosen people that he's called from the very beginning, ones that are going to be prepared to do his will. Hallelujah. And at this time, I would like to turn the service over to Elder David L. Johnson Sr. We would like to receive him by saying the highest form of praise by saying, Hallelujah.
Shabbat Shalom Yisrael. We do truly give Torah unto Almighty Yah and unto his son Yahshua HaMashiach, our master, our redeemer, our soon coming king. We Torah Yah for the gift of life and all that Yah has granted unto us as his people. We are, as a nation, Yisrael is commanded to keep all of the Torah of Yah, as Yah has granted us this unmerited favor to be able to walk up before him as a perfect nation. We are reminded that Yah says in his word, you only of all the families of the earth have I known. That is such a profound statement within and of itself, that Israel cannot afford. And this comes when you have to remind people of Yah to be perfect before him. He's commanded us to do that. He said, be perfect, for I, your Abba, am perfect. He commands that. This is not a way of life that can be taken and or looked upon like we do in the world. We cannot in any way, even in the most remote of possibilities, resemble the world in our relationship with Abba Yahweh. People of Yahweh have to take this thing serious above all things. I don't care what you have going in life. When it comes to your relationship with Almighty Yahweh, that relationship and our adherence to his Torah takes precedent above all else in our lives. We say hallelujah, I hear you now, but we have to live this. It's more to this than talking this. You're going to make some sacrifice if you're going to really serve Yahweh. The world honors their gods in their minds by the things that they say, as well as the things that they do. And they think themselves to be right in a lot of instances. Now, they think themselves to be right even when they don't even know the rules and the regulations and the tenets by which they claim to profess. But Yisrael has to have this thing perfected before Yah. And what we have to do now, Now what we have to do before Almighty Yah is to take this yoke upon us. Hear what I say now. He said plainly, my yoke, it is easy, and my burden is light. We're going to have to take Yahweh at his word and not read the words and then doubt them, or not read the word and then go away and seek to fight our own battle, or then seek to solve our own problems. For he said, my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Then he exemplifies the fact that he's going to work out every detail for Israel so that you're not preoccupied on Shabbat, on first day of the week, in the midst of the week. He said that you would have trials, that you would have tribulations, but he said that many are the trials of the Sadiq, but Yahweh bringeth them out of them all. And if he guarantees to bring us out of them all, then there is no need or even any room for Israel to be so depressed, so downtrodden, so overwhelmed with the cares of this life that it even begins to interfere with one's worship of Almighty Yah. See, this is a reflection on Yisrael, because we say one thing unto Yah and then we do another, so that our minds and our hearts are not fully set on Yah, so that it reflects in the house of Yah. So that has to come across as a rebuke and as a reminder to your sister. If at all possible, could you just take him out? That's all. Torah. So what Israel would have to do is to become so sincere before Yah that we perfect our way of life before Yah as he commands. We got to remember now, the world is watching Yisrael. All the world is watching. I'm going to, Yah willing, today, I'm going to deal with the topic. We're going to review how Yahshua will rule. And we need to take this very seriously in our understanding how Yahshua will rule. Too many times, I'm going to say this to us, the Hebrew community, my dear friends, we are delighted to argue and to debate the world on our Hebrew ways, on our Hebraic history, or the culture of knowing that we are the sons and daughters of the prophets. And if that is true, and we know that it is, then we have the greatest burden upon us. to obey. That's all that there is to that. We have the greatest burden upon us because we are given this way of life. And as Ha-MessiYah said, it is given unto you to know, to yada, to know the mysteries of the kingdom of Yah. It's given unto you to know it. But to them that are outside of the confines of the Torah, it's not given unto them. So that after so long of a time, Israel cannot, they cannot, I repeat, they cannot continuously make mistake after mistake after mistake, and then continuously say, we are the people of Yahweh. No, my friend. Yah said that he knows Abraham. He said he knew him. He knew him so well that he would instruct his children behind him. If we are behind him and we are his children, we have to have the same lev that our father Abraham had. We have to have a heart and a mind of absolute sincerity towards Yah. Come on now. See, we forget that the scripture says that the nation and kingdom that will not serve you shall be utterly wasted. Now, come on, Yahshua. You're talking about being able to establish Yah's Torah, being able to teach the nations. I'm going to show you something that Yah said that the nations did, but I'm going to also show you what Yisrael did right along with those nations. What I want to do is I want to look at, we're reviewing how Yahshua will rule. And I'll say it again as I just said, a lot of times we like to argue with the nations. We like to debate them. This is not an argument. This is not a debate. Yah's word is a declaration of intent. He has declared the ending from the beginning of what he intends to do. And he's going to have his way. I always say that Yah's going to have the final say-so. I don't care what man has to say. Yahweh has the final say-so. He has declared it. He is the maker of all things. And it is going to be Yahweh's way or no way. That's all there is to that. Yahweh's people are going to have to look at that. Let's do this. Let's go to the book of Tehillim, the Psalms, chapter 2. We go right there to the opening of the book. We want to look at something in Yah's word, and we want to take our time and look at it. Too many times, though we're not speed readers, we like to speed read through a thing. We like to think that we've comprehended or mastered a thing in a way where we do not. And then it shows in our mannerisms. It shows in our behavior. It shows in our daily conduct of life. People are not willing to sacrifice all that they might obtain the perfect salvation of Yahweh. People are not willing to sacrifice all. They'll tell themselves that they're willing to sacrifice all, but they're not. Now, the nations of the earth, they're willing to sacrifice all that they might continue to rule. I want you to hear what I said. The nations of the earth, they are confederate against Yahweh and against his anointed. And they are determined that they will sacrifice all that they might continue to rule. Yet Yisrael has no permanent dwelling place here, which means that Yisrael is going to have to let go of this present world system. You cannot stress that enough to the people of Yahweh. They will continue to do whatever it is that comes across their mind. Because in the minds of each and every one of us, we say, as the Torah commands us to understand, we say, what have I done? Every man's way is right in his own eye. That's what the scripture says. And that's what people are always thinking. People will defile the Shabbat and think themselves to be properly serving Yahweh. And we don't even want the strength of the word of Yah to testify against us now. We don't even want to face that. We don't even want the messengers to say anything to us. We don't even want to see, to read, or even to hear the firm rebuke of Yah. But I'm telling you that the Torah says, let the righteous smite me, and it should be counted a kindness. Come on now. For those of us that come up in homes where our parents, our daddies, our mamas, our granddaddies and grandmamas, where they try to maintain a semblance of the beauty of Yah's word, they tried to maintain some order and some discipline. You know how they'd smack you on the back of that head sometimes. Come on now, get it right, my friend. And you took that discipline because you understood the power of the ability to rebuke and to correct, that we might get the thing right. But we don't want that from Yah's word. We want to tell ourselves that we're already right with Yahweh, so that we are allowed in our own minds to continue in whatever it is that we do. And even when Shaitan approaches us so smoothly, so subtly, that he magnifies our transgressions, he magnifies our sorrows, he magnifies our tribulations and smooths them over in a way where we forget the deliverance and the power of Yahshua, so that we yield to these things and never realize that we are effortlessly attempting to fight our own battle. I say effortlessly because you can put forth no effort to fight your own battle if you are not your own deliverer. Do you hear what I say? See, the people of Yah have to take delight in Yah's word. To take delight in his word, you have to read what he says. To more so take delight in his word and to read what he says, you also have to hear. Someone has to preach the word of Yah unto us. Come on now. The foolishness of Yahweh is grander and far beyond the wisdom of man. It says that it pleased him by the foolishness of preaching to save them that believe. I like the way he says that. He lets them know that in his own depth of spiritual sarcasm, the very thing that people reject is the only thing that's going to deliver them. That's why the word says, how can they hear without a preacher? Somebody's got to deliver Yah's word now. Come on now. And to deliver Yah's word, Yah has to open up the understanding of the shepherds, their minds. He has to have his hand upon them. Any and everybody cannot do this. Come on now. They're trying it. And if any and everybody can do it, why are the conditions of the earth not getting any better? If any and everybody can do it, why then are the conditions of Israel as a nation not getting any better? It will get better according to Yah's word now, if we would simply submit ourselves. This is what we're going to do. We're going to go through the book of Psalms, chapter 2. I can already feel it in my ruach that I'm not going to complete this today. So we know this is already part 1. We'll say that right now. We're going to look at this, and we're going to break this one chapter down into 3 particular parts. Those of you that are writing or taking notes, I want you to understand we're going to divide this into 3 particular parts and deal with those 3 parts. Today's topic is reviewing how Yahshua will rule. People like that. They like all that. But now let's break this down. The first part we're going to do is we're going to deal with the question. We're going to deal with the question of it because it opens with a question. We're going to go into the second part. It makes a declaration. We're going to deal with the declaration of what's said and or written here in Yah's word. And then we're going to deal with the warning. So we have 3 aspects in which to break down, I believe, 12 little verses in one chapter. We're going to deal with the question, we're going to deal with the declaration, and we're going to deal with the warning. And I want you to see and understand that Yisrael has no opportunity in this lifetime to just simply gloat, to just brag, or to just boast about being Yisrael. It's bigger than that, my friend. It's deeper than that. Come on now. We're going to show you in Yah's word, if we're given the space and the opportunity, that they are not all Yisrael who are of Yisrael. Come on now. There were many that come up out of the land of Mizraim, but they did not make it in. And that thing stands to this very day as a testimony to the grandness of the kingdom of Ha-MessiYah as it is set up on this earth. It is literal. It will be set up at Yah's appointed time. And just as everyone did not go into the kingdom as Moshe led them out, neither will everyone that professes and names the name of Yah, neither will every one of us enter in as well, man. Come on now. We got some work ahead of us. This is not a religion. I want to be clear on that. This is not a game. This is not something that you do to just waste time, to just take up time to look good. Come on now. This is a relationship. This is a covenanted people. Of all the religions of the earth, you go check them all. Yisrael is the only covenanted people. They are the only people that enter into any type of covenant with the Most High. You mean to tell me that doesn't excite you as the sons and daughters of Yah? Come on now. We get more excited about a car payment than we do the relationship that we have with Yahweh. We get more excited about a contractual obligation to be enslaved and to work among the Gentile nations than we do about a relationship with Almighty Yah. Come on now. We have to pay attention to this. Let's do this. Psalms 2. Listen, he says, opening with the question, why do the heathens rage and the people imagine a vain thing? That Hebraic word regash, rage. What's upsetting you so bad? Now, Israel should be paying attention to this, because all the nations are, just as the scripture says, they're confederate against us. We do things now. We turn our back on Yah, and Yah punishes us. Come on, man. You know how we do. We get jobs. Now, the job requires us to be there on the Shabbat. We don't even stand and have the audacity to say, well, I won't work on Shabbat. We'll go there and we'll comply with them. We'll enroll in their school systems, and they'll say, well, you got to take this course on, as they say, Saturday, and we'll comply. We won't even stand up for Yah's word. But when we get in trouble, we run to Yah now. We want him to have mercy on us. Come on now, Yisrael. Somebody's got to stand and take a firm stand in Yah's word on that. That's why I said, no, I don't care about having no friends, man. Come on now. You think you're going to have friends and buddies and homeboys and pals and buddy boys, baby girl, all that, just to break down the truth. They won't let you do that, because they're not going to have you hurt their feelings. They want you to remain perpetually enslaved by them. I mean, them, family, friends, the world. Yah says that to be friends with the world, it is to be enmity. It is inimical to him. He's not accepting the whole world. So then Yah's people have to accept the fact that you're going to be looked upon as different. Get over it. Get over it and begin to take delight in that. That's what we have to learn how to do. Take delight in Yah's word. Come on, now listen. This is why you have to take your babies and you instill the word of Yah in them. You teach them from childhood and you bring them up firmly in this. That's what the word of Yah says. He even addresses the fathers tenderly. He says unto them, provoke not your children unto wrath. Don't provoke them to a point where they turn from Yah, the commandments of Yah. This is a delight. This is a beauty. This is a perfection in Yah's Kodesh ways. And that's why he gave Yisrael the rules. People don't even trust Yahweh enough to understand that he gave us rules. We don't even trust him enough to understand that. He gave us rules to abide by. Come on, man. To be in commotion, to rage. Something's going on that the nations feel as though they have to go. It denotes plotting against Yahweh, a level of wickedness by which the nation sought to do away with the Torah. They sought to do away with you as a nation. They sought to do away with everything, and then to supplant all that by saying they already have it. I don't think we understand the seriousness of what it is that we're up against. When we start understanding that the masses, or the unorganized mass of all of humanity, it is in opposition to Yahweh. That's why Israel has commanded you come on up out of her. Sometimes you're going to come up out this world and just have to remain quiet. You're not going to right every wrong or every injustice that we face in this lifetime. You're not going to do that. You can march, you can sing, you can protest, you can sit in, you can rage against. You're not going to righten every wrong. That's not your job. The wrongs that we do have the power and the authority to righten, we dare not touch it. We have to work from within. That's what Yah commands that we do. That's why the Torah says, I will enter into his gates with thanksgiving in my land. We're happy to enter into the gates of Yah. We're happy when the Shabbat goes around. We are happy for that cause. Brother Jonathan says something well over 25 years ago. And I never forgot that, because I was feeling that. But Yah gives a special thing where sometimes someone says something so plain, so simple, but the depth of sincerity behind it is so profound that you're forced to say, I never thought of it that way. But your Ruach bears witness with that. Brother says, I love Shabbat. I love Shabbat so much so it seems like all the other days of the week, they're just in the way. That's serious, man. People don't take delight in the Shabbat. You know how we do even here. Come on now. You all know I'm not going to hold back anything. We're here, then we're not. Then we're here, then we're not. Then we're not. Then we're not. Then we pop up. Then we're out again. Then we're not. Then we're not. Then we pop back up. and we tell ourselves we're obedient. You're lying. You're lying unto yourself. David, in his psalm of repentance, says in his prayer to Yah, he says, you desire truth in the inward parts. That simply means Yahweh desires that you be true to yourself. Don't lie to yourself. You know good and damn well you're not sincere about this. And I tell you, Israel, Yah's going to pay us for that. Yah's going to pay us. We can live to be old, or we can be born in this earth and be young. We're going to pay for every transgressions that are done in this vessel now. We don't get to pick and choose how we're going to pay back, though you may have picked and chose how you were going to transgress. You don't pick and choose how you're going to pay back, but we're going to pay back because he's going to require it. Do you hear what I say? Let's read this. Y'all all right? Why do the heathens rage and the people imagine a vain thing? Listen now. The kings of the earth set themselves, look at that, and the rulers take counsel together against Yahweh and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. Is that not how they plotted against the nation of Israel today? You were scattered. Come on, we like to talk about the Atlantic slave trade and all those other things, but we don't want to go into the depth of what even caused that. Because y'all said that I will scatter you from one end of the earth even unto the other end because we transgress. Come on, man. The book of Jeremiah, the 15th chapter, he plainly says, let them go forth and cast them out of my sight. Time will come when they will say, well, where shall we go? Y'all says, such as are for death to death. Such as are for sword to the sword. Such as are for the captivity to captivity. And such as are for the famine to the famine. Come on now. We can't keep on fussing with America. Can't keep on fussing with the white man, as you like to call him. Come on, somewhere along the line, we're going to have to stand and take full-scale responsibility for the demise of the nation because of our own transgression of the Torah. I'm not going to argue about who is and who is not Yisrael. We know what the book says. The book says something so profound about us that we don't even take delight in that. Yah says in Isaiah 59, 20, and 21, he says this, and I'm not going to turn there. I'll quote this. He says, my words, which I have put into your mouth, should not depart out of your mouth, nor out of the mouth of your sons' mouth, nor out of the mouth of your sons' sons, forever, says Yah. So it is within you. It matters not that others rise up and pretend to be you and say that they are you. Yahshua Ha-MessiYah said, I know the works of them who say they are Yahudim and are not, but do lie. Come on now. But before we rebuke them, we better rebuke self. Because we are commanded to live this. He put it within us. The book says that Jacob was a plain man. The scripture says tom. The Hebraic word was tom. It meant he was complete. It meant he was thoroughly furnished. He had everything within him. The Torah of Yah, the Ruach of Yah, the perfection of that combination alone is enough to save us. We don't have to go looking around the world. We don't have to track and trace the libraries and the books and all the trappings of this world to become intellectual giants of things that Yah had instilled within us as the nation. We play too much with Yah. And we don't want nobody to say, get right with Yah and do it now. We don't want anybody to say that because we say that we're already right. And we don't like the preaching of Yah like that when a messenger comes down according to the word of Almighty Yah. But it's best that we come down on all of us as a nation than to have that blood on our hands because we didn't say anything. I don't care how many likes or dislikes I get. I will preach what thus saith Yahweh. It makes no difference to me on that. If we're going to be delivered, we got to adhere to Yahweh's words because it's Yahweh's way or no way. This has nothing to do with Obama. This has nothing to do with Bush. This has nothing to do with Clinton. We can go all the way back to the beginning of this country and we can take it on back to the beginning of time. It's Yahweh's way or no way. And that's where man gets out of hand with Almighty Yah. He has entrusted a great deal of authority. He has invested a great deal in man, and man has underestimated the profound nature of what Yah established in us. Come on now. We play too much, my dear friends. We're not as serious as we should be. Let me do this. I want to depart from that right there. Let's go to Psalm 83. I want to show you something. Everybody all right? It's going to get a little warm here. How's it now? Temperature okay? We all right? All right, we'll deal with that. Listen to this. I want you to pick this up here. This is Psalms 83. Tehillim 83 makes it perfectly plain. Keep not silence, O Yahweh. In other words, Yahweh, don't stand there not saying anything. Speak up on our behalf. Say something, Abba Yahweh. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Yahweh. For lo, in other words, look, thine enemies make a tumult. The question he asked, why do the heathens rage? You all don't understand that these heathens, these nations, they rage against Yahweh and against you because they don't want Yah's will to be perfected. They want their own thing. For thine enemies make a tumult. Now listen to the way the writer expresses this. And they that hate you have lifted up their head. Meaning they were bold in their arrogance against Yah. They stood up. They did not hide themselves. This was not sneaky. This was bold. They have taken crafty counsel against your people. Look at the verse. If the nations of the world have taken crafty counsel against the people of Yahweh, then not only were they just involved in what you would call your slave trades of the nations, but they were also involved in the deception, in the destruction of your understanding, in the removal of your language, in the taking away of your understanding and your relationship to Almighty Yah. If they had that kind of power to do that, what do you think they can do when they get a hold of the book and they translate it? And we will not draw nigh unto Yah, that he may allow the Ruach to fall upon us, that he may fully manifest his word, which is within you. We play too much. We won't pull it out. Come on now. They have taken crafty counsel, that's what he said, against your people, and consulted against thy hidden one. Didn't Yah say that he had hidden us among the nations? He said he had hidden Israel. He scattered us, but then we were hidden. And then even being hidden, he said that I will be unto them a little sanctuary of hope in all the cities where they shall be scattered. Come on now. He knew what he was doing. We think ourselves to be so wise. Sometimes we think ourselves to be above the Most High. I've been around a little while now. And I tell you, I've encountered enough of us who really do think ourselves to be smart. Okay, you're smart, that's all right. But are you wise enough to obey what's written in the book? There is a distinction now. Because wisdom is the ability to apply that knowledge and that understanding that Yah has granted. Sometimes people have knowledge of a thing. Sometimes people have understanding, but they don't have the ability to apply it. Come on now, please. I have knowledge of many electronic devices. I don't have the wisdom to work them all, but I have knowledge of it. I know how it works. I see that. That's a camera there. I see how it works. As far as me opening it up, taking it apart, and operating, I have no wisdom to do that. So then in the same manner, we have to learn how to, as they would say in the street, young people say, stay in your lane. Work in your area of expertise. Israel has an area of expertise that Yah has granted unto them, but that's the operative word here. We take it for granted. We don't humble ourselves before Yah. We don't stop and become meek enough in the Ruach of Yah to let him guide us and lift us up. We lift ourselves up. Come on now. We're in the era of time where everything comes in the house of worship in the Almighty Yah's name. They come in already knowing. They come in fully knowledgeable. They come in, they think themselves to be collegiate, PhDs and all the other nonsense of the world, and yet spiritually we're kindergartenish and do not understand that. The nations have said, come on, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Yahshua may be no more in remembrance. Not only did the nations of the earth seek to wipe out that name from their remembrance because of Yah's covenant with them, but to wipe it out of your remembrance, then you would never turn to Yah and call upon him that he would set his hand to correct all that you go through. So in our transgressions against Yah, we continue to follow the foolishness of the nations. And we never solve our problems. I don't care what you think it is. You have problems, you do this, you do that. You got problems with the rent. You got problems with the car payment. You got problem with this, problem with that. So then you work. You do those things. All the things Yah says, don't defile my Shabbat. We do all that thinking that we're going to just make it through. And the conditions only get worse. For they have consulted together with one consent. They're in agreement now. They're in one accord, man. Come on now. They are confederate against you. Meaning they all right there. They have a confederacy. They all have agreed. This is what we're going to do. Now, here's the part of the book that I like most. See, people get offended when you open up Yah's word. Let me tell you one thing about this book. You are not going to open this Torah and not talk about somebody. Do you hear what I say? You're not going to open this book and not be addressing someone. So I don't care how pale and lily white your skin is. If you're wrong, you're going to be addressed. I don't care how black dark your skin is. If you are wrong, you are going to be addressed. And if you fall anywhere in between, you are going to be addressed. There is no racial preference with Almighty Yah. I don't care about the false ideals of the middle class, the upper class. They won't dare say the lower class, but that's what they mean to you. The poor, they won't even say that now. They just say middle class, the 1%. There are only two classes of people in all the earth. The righteous and the unrighteous. There are only two classes. That's all that there are. We ain't going through all those debates and technicologies. We're not going to go through that. We're going to throw that garbage out the window. You're either righteous or you're wicked. You're either striving or you're not. Yah's not going to do that. Well, you made 50,000. I'll have mercy on you. Who are you? You didn't even have a job. Get away. Come on now. Yah told us in his Torah to not respect personage of the rich or poor. Come on now. He warned us with that. So the nations, they don't want you to deal with them in this. Look at this verse close here. This is Psalms 83. The tabernacles of Edom. Now, why do you think he named them first? And the Ishmaelites, they do not get away. Of Moab and of the Hagarenes, Gebal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines and the inhabitants of Tyre. Asher also is joined with them. They have holpen, the children of Lot. Pause right there and think on that. He names the nations that were confederate against Yisrael. And to be against the nation of Yisrael, they were confederate against Yahshua. Let's not get that twisted. So when he says, why do the heathens rage and the people imagine a vain thing? They imagine to do away with you. And we help them in their imaginative efforts to do away with us because we submit to their rules and not the rules of Yah. So you're helping them. Which means then you cannot continue to tell yourself that you are the people of Yah if you are afraid to simply stand for the Torah of truth, my dear friend. Come on now. I've encountered so many Israelites. Come on, man. I've had Israelites, they come in the door sweating and smelling and stinking. And when we go back into the lost books, come on, I'll show you in the book. Now, look, people like the Dead Sea Scrolls, don't come into the house of Yah smelling like the dead. Come on, that's what the book says. It says that no man shall enter into the house of Yah in need of bathing or washing. Come on now. He taught Israel that. Come on, he brought them up out of the land of Mizraim. He gave them 3 days to clean up themselves. Come on now. He give you 3 whole days to clean up. Come on now. See, people don't know and understand. We put on our clothes. We go to that old family reunion. We're going to go see Aunt Ginger or drunken Uncle Jojo and everybody. People that you know have never lived anything. We show up for them. We put on our best. We want to be seen. We want to look good just to stand around and sniff and smell and delight in the alcohol and the pork chops. All the nonsense that Yah says, get away from that. Come out of her, my people, and be not partakers of her sin. He said, come out. We come out and act like we're out all the way, knowing full well that we're like Lot's wife. We're steady looking back. I told Yah for the beauty of his word, because in this instance here, when I stand here and I look back, I'm looking at the Torah of Yah. You hear that? I turn to my right, I look back, I'm looking at that word. We stand in front of this. He said, guard this. And I look to my left, I'm looking at that word. You see how that goes? Come on, we look back today, we're looking back at the old way. That's why it's imperative that you bring your babies up in this. Y'all asked the question by Yahshua. He says, to whom shall he teach knowledge? Who's he going to give it to? He says, them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. Just as he chose the nation as it was a babe, he does the same thing for your children. Teach them to take a delight in Yah's word. The beauty of Almighty Yah's word. There's nothing mystical, mythical, or magical about Yah's word. It is the power of Yah's Torah, the simplicity of Yahweh having all power. And when Ha-MessiYah rose, guess what? He invested all that power in him. And he is a man. Come on, that's what the scripture says. He told the apostles, all power is given in mine hand. Come on, we don't even take delight in that. Come on. I know Michael Jordan's mom took great delight in seeing her son win the championship. She looked, she said, that's my boy. Tiger Woods would play golf and do all the stupid stuff that we see him do. His mom and his daddy would look and say, that's my boy. They took a delight in that. Now here you are, the family of Almighty Yahweh. And you don't take delight in the simplicity of the fact that Yah chose a family member. He said that thy weed shall never lack a man to sit upon that throne. We don't even take a delight in that. Come on, man. We play too much with Yah. So now he names all these nations that were in commotion. They were against him now. He named those nations. He told Israel in dealing with the question now, why do the heathens rage? Why are they imagining this vain thing? They're not going to get away with it. But yet they go along with it. Come on, do you realize that if you're not going to get away with something and you go on with it anyway, then you're going to do that to your own doom and destruction? That's all it can end in, is a demise. Let's do this. Let's go back to the book. Let's go back to Exodus. For those that are reading and looking at that, let's go back there now. I want to look at this close. The first chapter. 1:7. He asks, why do the heathens rage? Why do these nations rage and the people imagine a vain thing? Well, in your point of origin as a young nation, look now as an origin, as a young nation. The heathens were raging way back then. Exodus 1:7. And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly and multiplied and waxed exceeding mighty. Notice the careful use. It says exceeding mighty. It's one thing to be mighty, but somebody's doing something so grand, they're exceeding mighty. And the land was filled with them. Now there arose up a new king over Mizraim who knew not Yosef. And he said, listen, and he said unto his people, behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come on, let us deal wisely with them. Stop right there. That's a rage. They look up and realize you have outnumbered them. Though you are among them, though you look alike one another, there is certain slight ethnic difficulties that make it easy to see, hey, we're not the same. He said, come, let us deal wisely with them, and lest they multiply. And it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us. And so get them up out of the land. You hear that? He says, let's deal with them now, because if this thing goes down any other way, they'll rise up and they might fight against us, and they'll join on with our enemies. You hear what the nation was thinking? That's a rage. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? The more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. And they were grieved because of the children of Yisrael. They were grieved because of you. And the Egyptians of the Mizraim made the children of Israel to serve with rigor. See, Yah puts a perfection of his word within us. He tells you in the Torah, he said, you should not rule rigorously over your brethren. See, I tell you, you don't go working somebody super ultra hard. Now, you don't do that. He says, don't rule rigorously. But here it says that they made them serve with rigor. And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage. Come on, man. And that's all we struggle with today. We struggle today with the same thing. That's why a lot of time I'm not stupid, man. That's why I rebuke that nonsense. Shabbat roll around with, oh, I was too tired. It's your day of your rest. It is your Shabbat. It is your Shabbatot. There's no excuse for that. The man said, get in here. I was going to take a sick day. Look, I need you in here now. You get right in there. And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage, in mortar and in brick, and in all manner of service in the field. Look at that. We like to use that word today, don't we? I work in the house. I work in the field. You know how they say. All their service wherein they made them serve was with rigor. So look at the rage, at the initial starting point of yourselves as a nation. This is what they did to you. This was the ignition switch into all of that. And y'all's people today, they take these things lightly. We like to argue the historical points of this. Well, the historical accuracy of Yah's word is beyond dispute. We don't even have to debate and dispute that. We have to contend with ourselves in these vessels in this lifetime. This is where the fault lies in Yisrael. Am I making any sense? We don't understand that. And we don't really fight to fully comprehend this. We just go on and we tell ourselves in the greatness of our own psychological illusion. That's what it is. We live under a psychological illusion of being great, but yet we do none of the great things that Yah says to do. Keeping Yah's commandments, it is a great thing. This is no light thing. This is no small thing. This is something great. The Torah of Almighty Yah points to the gift of eternal life. If Yah is the giver of the gift, the initiative is upon those whom Yah is giving it to. The initiative to reach and take it is upon you. Does that make any sense? Come on, that's how Yah's people have to take a delight in his word. You don't have to pump yourself up like the heathens do. I'm going to go to the Lord. I'm going to get it, Lord, some of myself. Come on, you're bluffing. And then we worship just like them because we come up like that. We saw mama do that all our lives. Or we saw daddy do that. So now we come up doing the same thing to the house of Yah. This isn't the church here, baby. We're not going to play that game here. We serve Yah and we're commanded to be different because we are a different people. He didn't say that the other nations were peculiar unto him. He said Yisrael was a peculiar nation unto him. He said, in fact, he says a peculiar treasure. A peculiar treasure. He treasures you. He values you. Then you must value you and do what you have been commanded. Does that make any sense, Yisrael? We must do what we're commanded to do. We can't keep on worrying about the nations. Come on, man. I don't think anybody here in this city been out there any more than I had. I was out there with them and everything. They had their little community meeting, their little protest. I would always go out. I'd go out and I'd talk about the wonderful works of Yah. They, oh, here come that Yahweh, man. At least you knew I did come through. And the consistency with what I say it time after time. I say it on the airways. I'm saying it here on the Shabbat. I'm not going to change that because Yah has not changed the dynamic by which he has dealt with Yisrael. He has never changed the principles by which he's entered into that relationship with us. The question then is, why do we switch up on Yahweh? I said we're going to divide this psalm into 3 parts. And I'm still dealing with part 1, the question. Yah willing, we'll get to part 2, the declaration. Because see, the nations, they emerge. He asked, why are you raging? You're not going to win. Why then are you raging against me and against my anointed? You're not going to win. So then when we deal in the declaration, we have to understand that. Come on, Yisrael. And after Yah gives the declaration unto all the nations, he gives a warning. And Yah's people need to see that We need to understand that contextually. Do you hear me? Y'all's people need to look at his word closer, man. Let's do this. Let's go to the book of Jeremiah. Jeremiah chapter 23. A lot of times people, they don't even like you to take them through the book. They don't even like you to slow walk. But the word says that Yah has given it here a little and there a little. They don't even understand the context that over a several thousand-year process of time, he raised those messengers up, and they were all speaking with consistency. They all spoke the same thing with a consistency. One might have one part of the mystery and fall asleep in Yah. Another come along behind him. He'd pick up where he left off. Another come along behind him, sometimes several hundred years later, and pick up with greater clarity and then add clarification to what the first one said and even greater detail to the second and on and on. And it went like that because Almighty Yah's word is one series of a continuous running dialogue between Almighty Yahweh and the children of Israel. He has not changed the rules. So today we think ourselves now to be so. I don't expect anything Tav, anything perfected, anything beautiful to come from the nations of this earth. I do not expect that. I do not expect that. This is a wicked world, and it is doing exactly what it is commanded to do. Yah references the God of this world, and the God of this world being worshipped as a God has no respect of Almighty Yahweh. And it is going to be that way until he is taken down. So then Israel must delight in Almighty Yahweh's word. It matters not about the persecutions and the sufferings. Come on now. We haven't gone through the things that the prophets and the apostles have gone through, and yet we act as if our lives are so difficult. We have to total Yah for what we have here sometimes. We don't even stop and think, man. We act like the job is so rough. As soon as y'all take the job, now you can't get nothing coming in. Suddenly now you want to pray. Come on now. That's how we do. Come on. Don't act like that's not what we do. We violate Yah's word. We got to stand up. When you come to the knowledge of Yah's truth, the more you come to the knowledge of his word, the more you are required to walk therein. That's all. You don't learn something new and deeper in Yah's word and remain where you are. You come on up to that mark. You've got to come up to the measure, to the stature, to the fullness of the man, Ha-MessiYah. We've got to measure up to the standard that has been set before us. Does that make any sense, Yisrael? We've got to measure up. Come on now. Look at this. This is Jeremiah 23. I want you to hear this. Woe be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my path. Now notice how he addresses the shepherds now, the messengers. Woe unto you that destroy and scatter the sheep. Come on, that's why I tell you, you cannot be all over the place all the time. Brothers do that all the time. Oh, Zakane is so rough. It's no rougher on you than anyone else that's serving Yah. You can't say that you got trials and tribulations worse and or above anyone else. Come on. Ha-MessiYah had the weight, literally, the weight of the world upon him. And he said it was a delight to do Abba Yahweh's will. Sometimes all we have is the weight of the rent. You got 30 days to raise that and pay the rent. And we act like it's so difficult. The scripture teaches us, I can do all things through Yahshua who strengthens me. Come on, man. We doubt him. That's why we'll put the job before Yahweh. That's why we'll put the family before Yahweh. That's why we put all things before Yahweh instead of trusting in Yahweh that he's going to work these things out. Come on now. We expect big, great, grand miracles, but sometimes the big, great, grand miracle is just based in the simplicity of you obeying Yah. That's a miracle within and of itself, to get the people of Yah to say, I'm going to obey. That's a miracle within and of itself. Hear me, Israel. Therefore, thus says Yahweh of Israel, unto the pastors that feed my people, you have scattered my flock and driven them away and have not visited them. Behold, I will visit upon you the evil of your doing, says Yahweh. See how I told you nobody gets away? You scatter them, you bust them down, you destroy them, you divide them. I've seen shepherds even in my lifetime do that. Divide people that were perfectly unified. And stand and divide and conquer the people of Yah and say Yah commanded them to do that. You're going to pay for that. I will gather the remnant of my flock out of all the countries. Now I like this here because see, Yah gets geographically precise. Look at the words. He says, I will gather the remnant of my flock out of all the countries whither I have driven them. He takes credit for you being driven away. He says, where I have driven them. If he drove you away, he's going to bring you back if you trust in him. You hear what I say? And I will bring them again to their folds, and they shall be fruitful and increase. So you got shepherds around today telling people not to marry. They teach that. They're teaching people not to have children. You have them around, they're doing that. That's not what the book says. We go into the laws books, we find that Yah says it was a delight to create you. He created you. He had it in his mind. He says to Yahshua, it was in his mind to form the nation of Israel before he even formed the foundation of the world. That's the most intense level and definition of love that I've ever found. It was in his mind to make you before he even made the place where you would rest the soles of your feet. Come on now. That's why a lot of times we got to sit down and correct and chastise ourselves. We don't know how wonderful we have it made. We don't delight in that. People don't delight in Yahweh like they say they do. Come on, man. They delight when it's time to sit and eat. They delight, oh, this is so beautiful. No, we got to hear Yah's word. Ha-MessiYah warned us that man does not live by bread alone. Why don't we make that the essence of our being? Come on now. And I will set up shepherds over them, which shall feed them. Somebody's going to be born. Somebody's going to emerge. He said, I will set men up there, set them up. Men that will teach them, that will feed them. You're being fed now with the word of Yahweh. They shall fear no more, nor be dismayed. We're dismayed now. We're confounded. We're confused before the nations of the world. And we are in fear of them. Don't act like you're not. More often than not, you are in fear of them. And you'll know whether or not you are in fear of them. As soon as they give edicts and things that go against Yahweh's word, and you're the first to fall in line before their own children do, you know you are in fear of them. That's all there is to that. I've seen people in the assemblies of Yah, they're afraid to be dressed a certain way. They don't want to wear. I've seen the women, they come out the house, they won't even cover their head till they get to the sanctuary. They want to cover it up then. When they come in, what, you're afraid you don't want your neighbors to see you with your head covered? You're ashamed of your head covering? Come on now, my dear sister. If I break that down, I'll show you in the word why you're ashamed. Because you're rebellious against Yah. He says in the word, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto Yahweh. You won't cover that head. Those rules are Yahweh's rules. You won't cover that head because you're not submitting yourselves unto Yahweh. That's what that's all about. Come on now, you got the men. They won't stand. They won't take command of the household. They let her run everything. You're not going to run everything in my house. We're going to do this thing the way that Yah says do that. Because I got to stand and give an account for my household. And I got to stand and give an account for the household of Yah the same way. I love you, but I'll tell you Yah's rules. That's what you got to do. See, people, they lie on the Torah. They say, that sexist book, it discriminates against women. Listen here, my dear friend. If the word of Yah discriminates against the woman, he would have never even made you. He put a specified level of beauty upon the woman to accentuate the beauty of what he created in man. That's a very profound compliment. He put you beside him. He said, it's not good that he should be alone. I'll make him help me. Come on, sister. He says, in other words, he's got work to do. I'll make him a help me. Look at that. It's not complete. I got to put something there. Your job ain't to take over. You see the beauty in that? They don't see the beauty in that because they do not trust Yahweh. He says, every wise woman buildeth her house, but the foolish woman plucks it down with her hand. It's based on you, baby girl. It's what you do, and it's how you do it. You pluck it down. You tell, I'm not going to do that. Listen to you. He says you're foolish. Yah also says in his word, he killed those men. And he'll make you desolate. And being desolate, I'll embarrass you. I'll make you sit down upon the ground, ashamed of yourself. We don't look at things like that in the word now. And the men, they don't want to see that. Come on, man. Look at this. Here's what Yah says. I will set up shepherds over them which shall feed them, and they shall fear no more, nor be dismayed. Neither shall they be lacking, says Yah. Look at that. We're so afraid to trust Yah today. That's why we're lacking now. We won't trust him, so then he leave us out there. He says, well, look, if you're going to put more trust in the Gentile than you do in me, you go ahead. And when you fall short and when you fail, you'll dig deeper and deeper and deeper in the hole, and you'll think you're coming up out the hole. Before long, you done dug a hole to China. Come on now. Behold, the days come, says Yahweh, that I will raise unto thy weed a Sadiq branch. I like this here. And a king shall reign and prosper. Now remember now, we're reviewing how Yahshua will rule. Look at this verse here. It says, I will raise up unto him a king who shall reign and prosper and shall execute mitzvah in all the earth. He's going to do that righteous judgment now. He's going to execute it. Ain't going to be no partiality now. Ain't going to be no slap on the wrist and you get away with some wickedness. He's going to execute justice in the earth. In his days, he gives. Now, if you look at this 6th verse close, this is specific. This is precision. He says, in his days, Yehuda shall be delivered, and Israel shall dwell, look, safely. You hear that? And this is his name whereby he shall be called Yahweh Sikinu. Yahweh, our righteousness. You hear that? Yahweh Shua, our righteousness. Yahweh is salvation. If he is your salvation, he is your righteousness, says Yahweh. Come on now. I like that. We're reviewing how Yahshua is going to rule. See, people think this is funny. They think this is game. This is, oh, we die and go to heaven. I know my mother's in heaven smiling down on me. Well, the book says the dead know not anything. People want to talk about that. Well, we got the Egyptian book of the dead. Yeah, you're right. You do have an Egyptian book of the dead. Now we slew them all. Take note of that. Book that. He slew them all. So we run our mouths too much against Almighty Yah. And we don't study his word well enough to take Yah's word and to see how the word of Yahweh overshadows all the history books that man can write. Come on with that. People's biggest argument today is, well, the Hebrews, they what you going to do before them? In Egypt, they started there. We go all the way back to Kemet. Shut your stupid mouth. We'll go back and show you in the word of Yah when Enoch was born, and it says, and men began to call upon the name of Yah. They had to call up, they had to be reintroduced to Yah far before Kemet was even there. But because you don't read and you don't study and you don't believe, Yah has not opened your understanding. Again, he says he has not dealt so with any other people. So then he has not opened the great grand mysteries of his word, what you all call world history. He has not opened it unto them, so that at the beginning of time, all the things they grapple with today, the stars, the horoscope, the nations, the pyramid, all the things, Yah's people knew all things like that, far beyond what we have in the historic record today, my dear friend. And if you know where to go and to look, you can read it for yourself. And as you read it, you pray for the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of these things to be opened unto you, and you'll see how Yahweh was always there. This isn't some made-up God. This isn't some made-up name. This isn't something invented. His name within and of itself says, I cause to exist. He is the eternal, self-existent one. You can come up with all the names of those damn dirty gods. Yahweh made the heavens and the earth and all that in them is. And you know what? Live or die. One day, the whole world is going to find it out. Everything that has ever planted its feet upon the face of this earth, one day is going to come and know of Yahweh. Let's be clear on that. So people get offended because we stand up to your damnable, dirty, pissy little gods, then you just get offended, my friend. We're going to tell the truth here. And we're going to serve Yah, and Yah's word is going to go forward. And as long as Yah has breath in our vessels here, we're going to serve Yahweh. And you're not going to make us back down. I'm not going to sit around and argue with people over things that they cannot even verify themselves. Come on. Sometimes you talk to these people, they lack the smallest level of vernacular to even express what it is that they believe. Come on, man. Anytime you ball a man up on what he believes and force him to go back, well, I got to go back and rethink it. Already it's false. If you don't have the answer to supply that to the questions that emerge, already it's false. It's false. Y'all give these people grand knowledge and understanding of things. He gave Hanak such a grand wisdom of things. He couldn't even stay here with the knowledge that he had acquired in Yah. What was he going to apply that? That's some beautiful knowledge and understanding that Yah has to take you because he's shown you some great things. Come on now. You don't need to be here with that. This earth is not ready for that just yet. That's beautiful, man. But because people don't read that. Listen, they have not even mastered the 66 books that we have here. They have not mastered the 66. They want to pick up the suppressed books and act as if they have such grand knowledge. Come on, my dear friend. We haven't even studied these here. We should at least master this. Come on, that's like living in your own house and the lights go out and you stump your toe. You've been living in the place and you don't know your way around? We're supposed to know this book. He says it is given unto you to know. You're supposed to know that. Come on, I had a man call me. His name is Jesus. His name is Yahshua. I said his name is Jesus. I said, well, he says his name is Yahshua. And I wouldn't back up off of it. But man got mad with me. I don't give a damn that you got mad. Go away and study. You can't argue a point when you haven't even studied the basics of what you're arguing about, my dear friend. I said, well, if his name is Jesus, do me this favor. Let's trace that back to the original language in which the book was written. I want you to find me Jesus. You find it time in there, my friend, and I'll convert to what you got. That shuts that down, stupid bastard. And I'm not going to bite my tongue on that. You're a dumb dog. That's what the scripture says. And then come back and he says, yes, the name is Yahshua, but it's Jesus. How dumb and ignorant could you be? Can you get any lower than that? Come on, man. It's the equivalent of you saying, I'm a man, but I'm a woman. Now, watch that now. Because they out here doing that today. So you see, they follow the God of this world. That's his thing. That's his thing. I'm right, but I'm wrong. I'm wrong, but I'm right. That's his thing. No, there's no in between. We're not going to play those games. Yah's word is going to stand, and it's going to stand forever. Do you hear me, Yahshua? Again, reviewing how Yahshua will rule. The question, how will he rule? Let's look at the book. Let's see what the book says. Let's do this. Isaiah. Yeshayah 61. We go right there to Isaiah 61. I want you to see these details now. People, it's funny how people try to forget explicit detail. No, we ain't going to let you get away with that today. People like that. Y'all's messengers, they have to learn now. You're going to take this book. You need to stand up with this book and pour your heart and soul into this. Come on, man. You need to labor. If you don't see any sleep for days, then that's fine. You do well with that. Then you do sit up watching ABC, Wide World of Sports, boxing, wrestling, and all the other stupid things. Come on now. I want you to listen to this very carefully. I love the way Yah blessed this man to see with such a long-term vision. He saw down the line of time. I like this. Sometimes you don't even have to deal with the racial context of it. Just read it out loud. People that are guilty of these things, they'll know, oh, man, that's talking about me. People that are victims of it and know that they have to be delivered and lifted up, they'll read that. They'll say, oh, man, that's talking about me. So, see, sometimes you don't even have to deal with the racial context of it. Just let the word speak for itself. You know. It's within your ruach. You know. Listen to this. And the Spirit of Yahweh is upon me, because Yahweh hath anointed me to preach glad tidings unto the meek. He hath sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to them that are bound. To proclaim the acceptable year of Yahweh, and the day of vengeance of our Abba, to comfort all that mourn. Do you mourn, Yisrael? To appoint unto them that mourn in Zion, to give unto them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness or depression. Sometimes Israel, they're just so downtrodden with the job. That's because you have not let it go. That's because you put your all in that. That's just a means to an end. It's a small means to an end. You hear what I say? Come on, man. Sometimes people, they get so overjoyed and so carried away with the money. Come on, I work in the field, man. If I don't work, I don't get paid. If I don't complete it, I don't get paid. There are others, they're on the clock. They can get it however. Come on, man. I was working on the wall. I said, I'm going to complete this and get paid today. It rained me out. I told her, yeah, okay, I'm rained out. I can't work. I can't complete it. I don't get paid. Went right on home. So I'm going to open y'all's word. I'm going to read and study a little bit. I'm going to rest up for the Shabbat. Come on, man. I kid you not. I had to work. I was all alone. I had a hole. I had to fill that hole in with them blocks. That hole took about 300 blocks between 7:30 and 10 a.m. I had 250 block in the hole. I had my cement mixed up, and I was mixing up when the help came at 11:45. By the time the help came, he said, you did all this by yourself. I said, who you see here? Come on, my friend. If I can labor like that in the world, you know good and well, I better put forth my best effort in the word of Almighty Yah. People, oh, I was just too tired. Come on now. I don't care about that. Y'all bless me to get some rest. It's preparation day. That rain came at 11:30 yesterday. By 1 o'clock, I was home. Reading, studying, doing a little bit. Y'all bless me to lay back, get a little rest, just so I could be in the assembly. Come on now. Deacon Reggie delivered something last night. I don't know if you all were listening. Sometimes we don't listen. We like the messenger. We like the charismatic nature. We like all that. Yah deals however he chooses to deal, my dear friend. See, we like that. We like entertain. Oh, well, I won't go. Sometimes you miss something that you really should have heard. See, we like to be entertained by the word of Yah. We don't want to be delivered by it. We like to be entertained. Well, that's wrong, man. This is not entertainment. We don't do this to be seen of men. I don't care how I look to you. Come on now. You grow old, you're going to lose your hair, you're going to go bald, your teeth are going to fall out, the body is going to not be as rejuvenated or as vibrant as it was. Come on, you're going to lose all that. This body's decaying every day. But we better renew it with the inward man. You better do that. You hear me, Yisrael? Listen to this. Verse 4. And they shall build the old waste. They shall raise up the former desolations. And they shall repair the waste cities, the desolations of many generations. That's work. Somebody's going to have to build that. And the stranger. Oh, now I said before, if you're guilty of this, you know it's talking about you. And the stranger shall stand and feed your flocks. And the sons of the alien shall be your plowmen and your vine dressers. Whoa. Weren't you theirs? But you shall be named the Kohanim of Yahweh. Men shall call you the ministers of our Abba. You shall eat the riches of the Gentile. Look at that. You're chasing it now. He says you shall eat the riches of the Gentiles. Uh-oh. And in their pomp shall you boast yourself. They're walking that right now. Trump and others there. I'm doing financially well, successful. I've got this, I've got that. Look at what the book says here. And in their glory, they glorify themselves in this wealth and in this. And let me be clear on something right now. In this here, y'all's not talking about Andrew Jackson. Who's the other one? I don't even know who's on the money. I don't have no money. Who's on it? No, you're all laughing. I'm dead serious. Grant. Benjamin. Thank you. I was trying to think of who that was. All those people on the money. Come on. You know I don't have it. I couldn't tell you who they are. He's not talking about you in the kingdom walking around flashing a robe now. Come on, let's not get foolish. The things in this earth, the tangible things that make this thing turn around. Yah says, in that you shall boast yourself. For your shame, you shall have double. And for confusion, they shall rejoice in their portion. Therefore, in their land, this is a possessive, in their land, they shall possess the double portion. Everlasting joy shall be upon them. You hear that? Everlasting joy. You want to know how Yahshua is going to rule? Look at that. They don't tell you Jesus is going to do that. They know he can't do it. You ever notice, you listen to the Christian world real close, they never talk about Jesus setting up no kingdom. They just keep you mystified and baffled on Jesus. Jesus, Jesus. I just sick of hearing that. He cannot rule. But let's go further, because I want you to hear something. This is why it is imperative that you teach this to your babies, and that you, as the babies of Yah, learn this. Because to fulfill these prophecies, it starts with you. For I, Yahweh, love mitzvah. I hate robbery for burnt offering. And I will direct their work in truth. And I will make an everlasting, look at this word here, and I will make an everlasting covenant with them. And their seed, that's your children. You hear that? Their zirah, your children, shall be known among the Gentiles. Let's use that word like that. Your children shall be known among the heathens, shall be known among the goyim, shall be known among the nations. You hear that? And their offspring among the people. Not one or two. It says all. Look at the verse. All that see them shall acknowledge them, that they are the seed which Yahweh has baruch. You hear that? You don't have to go around with nothing special on your head. No special color hat on your head to be recognized of the nations of Yah. You keep his Torah like you ought to. He's going to make all the nations acknowledge you anyway. Come on, I was standing in the store the other day. A bunch of them were around, want people to acknowledge them. I'm not going to acknowledge you above myself. Yah says you shall love your neighbor as yourself. Do you love yourself? Come on, I can love you too, provided you obey. But I'm not going to stand in deference to you if you're going to hide his word and pretend something that's not there. I'm not going to do that. People get offended when you talk like that. Then let them. Let me do this. Can I do this? Can I go back? Let's find this. Some people talk this. Here's one that came and lived this out. Let's go to the book of Luke. Lucas 4. Some people, they talk the word, while others come and live it out. And we don't even realize when they live it out. That's what I love about Ha-MessiYah. He didn't waste no time. He wasn't around playing with people, guessing, going through all silly little games. He lived it out. Lucas 4:16. Listen to this. And he came to Nazareth where he had been brought up. You hear that? He came to where he was raised, where he was brought up. And as his custom was, he went into the sanctuary on the Shabbat day. And look, stood up for to read. You hear that? He stood up to read. And there was delivered unto him the book of the prophet Yahshua. And when he had opened the book, he found the place where it was written. Now you tell me where he was reading from. And the Spirit of Yahweh is upon me, because he hath anointed me to preach the glad tidings to the poor. He hath sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to preach deliverance to the captives, and the recovering of sight to the blind, and to set at liberty them that are bruised. To preach the acceptable year of Yahweh. I like this here. And he closed the book and gave it unto the minister and sat down. And the eyes of all them that were in the sanctuary were fastened upon him. You know how that is. You catch people. I catch that all the time. People sit around, they look at me. Brothers that sometimes they know they're not right in Yah's word. You sit here, you're looking this way. They're to your right or to your left. They're staring at you. As soon as you look, no. You keep looking. If there's a revelation you're looking for, you keep looking till Yah give it to you. You see how Yahshua responded to them? And he began to say to them, this day is this scripture fulfilled in your ears. He let them know. The one who was to live that out, this day it is fulfilled in you. Is that not what Ha-MessiYah says to them? And all bear him witness and wondered at the precious words which proceeded out of his mouth. And they said, is not this Yosef's son? Yeah, how they start trying to reduce him. You immediately, yes, he's Yosef's son, but you all don't know who this man really was. That's the first thing people start trying to do. They start trying to reduce you. Come on, I've had people do that to me. So I remember your daddy. Yeah, I came there with your daddy. I remember your daddy. You were a little bitty boy. No, sir. I said, no, my friend. I was 25 years old. I ain't no way in the world I could be a little boy at 25. But I said, yeah, I remember you a little bitty thing. No, not at 25. I'm just as big then as I am now. I think I'm about 6 feet. If I miss it by a quarter of an inch here or there, forgive me. So Yah knows. He sent this man. This man lived it out. Listen, let's do this. We're asking the question. And the question is, why do the heathen rage? That's what the scripture says, right? Why do the heathen rage? But let's not get too big-headed. Israel raged too. We don't want to forget that part, do we? Come on, let's do this. Let's go back to the book of Daniel. Let's go there. I want you to see something here. People get in trouble. They call the police. They get on the phone. They call 911. I want you to look at what happens by the time we get to Daniel 911. That's the call you make. But look, I'm not going to 911 yet. Let's go to Daniel chapter 9. I'm going to start around the 4th verse. I want you to pick up on what this man of Yah says. If we're asking why do the heathen rage, we better ask ourselves, why did we rage too? Because we certainly had to pay for it, Yahshua. Daniel 9:4, he says, and I prayed unto Yahweh, my Abba, and made my confession and said, oh Yahweh, the great and awesome mighty one, keeping the covenant. If somebody's translation says dreadful, that's all right. Yah is fearsome. When he runs up on man now, he puts the fear and dread of himself upon you now. Keeping covenant and mercy to them that of him. You hear that? For them that ahava him, love him. And to them that keep his mitzvah, his commandments. We have sinned. Are you listening to the way he talks? He says, we have sinned. Are you listening? And have committed iniquity. And have done wickedly. Now he says 3 things. Sinned, committed iniquity, have done wickedly. Let's get the 4th one in there. And have rebelled. Let's get the 5th one in there. Even by departing. Sounds like we've raged too. Come on now. See, we like the good stuff in Yah's word that's talking directly to us, that lift us up. But sometimes you got to go back and you got to face the bad stuff you did in order to be properly lifted up, because you've got to get down. At that name of Yahshua Ha-MessiYah, it is written that every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess. We might as well do it when we come to the knowledge of that thing. Don't wait now until you're forced to do that. I'll show you in the lost books the 7 states of men. I'll show you the 7 last things that we all see before we pass off this scene now. And it's not beautiful if we're not right with him when it's time to go. So then Israel will have to acknowledge these things. That's what he says in Jeremiah 3:14. He says, only acknowledge thine iniquity. That's all. He says, acknowledge it. Turn from it. But a lot of times we don't even want to acknowledge it. Come on, man. We got little boys out here preaching and teaching on the street corners, hooting and howling and cursing the people out. They won't even use the proper name of Almighty Yah. They say that they're Yahshua, but they won't even use his name. And will curse and drink and smoke weed, drink liquor, and think that the Ruach of Yah is upon you. You are out of your mind, man. He gave that law in the Torah. He said that the priest shall not drink wine or strong drink, but before they go and enter into the house of Yah, don't do that. That's not the Ruach that takes over. That's the spirit of that alcohol. That's the spirit of the God of this world. And if you think you can smoke weed and drink liquor and alcohol and do the will of Almighty Yah, you are literally out of your mind. Do you hear me? He says, neither have we hearkened unto your servants, the prophets, the Nabi. We did not listen to them. You all don't listen today. Come on now. Which spoke in your name to our kings. Look now, look what they did. Which spoke in your name to our king. What is his name? And what is his son's name? If you can tell. Names are important. You hear that? So they spoke to our fathers and to all the people of the land. Oh Yahweh, righteousness belongs unto you. Sadiqa belongs unto Yahweh. See how a lot of times we ascribe it unto ourselves. It belongs unto him, and he has to place it upon us. If Yah does not place that upon us, we don't have it. You hear what I say? But unto us, confusion of faces, as at this day. That's what's wrong with Israel today. Confusion of it. That's why we violate the Shabbat so often. We're still confused. We don't know whether to trust Yah and to believe in him fully, or to just submit and go along with the employer, go along with the neighbor, go along with the family. We don't know what to do. You follow Yah with your all. That's what you do. If you look strange to the world, then so what? Baruch be the name of Almighty Yahweh. We're afraid to stand for the truth, but we're not afraid to do evil now. People don't like that part. We got to get right with Yah. It goes for me and it goes for you. It goes for every single one of us. You hear what I say? We have to get right by what Yah commands that we do. There is no other way. His ways are past finding out. You're not going to go research him, figure out how to get past what Yah commanded that we do. You're not going to do it. So then you may as well get to know Yah for yourself and come take great delight in being obedient unto him. That's why Yah commands that Israel get together. He gives you the joy and the activity of Shabbat fellowship. Come on. Even in the land of captivity, you have that right to be in fellowship with one another. How are you going to love your neighbor as yourself when you don't even treat one another as neighbor? Now, listen. Truth be told, Israel is just a family. Come on, man. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, the 12 tribes. It's just a family. It's spread out. Come on, those 12 boys, they had their children. Their children became cousins. It's a generation of cousins. It's one family. Come on, man. That's all that it is. So now, before you can take in the world as your neighbor, you got to take in the family of Israel as the neighbor first. A lot of times people in assembly, they look at one another. They don't even speak. They don't even know each other sometimes. Come on, man. Things like that should not be. So he says, to Yahweh belongs righteousness, and unto us confusion of face, as at this day. The men of Yahudah, and unto the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and unto all Israel that are near and that are far off, through all the countries whither you have driven them. Notice there's that word again. Driven them, because of their trespass, that they have trespassed against you. Against who? Against Yahweh. Oh, Yahweh, to us belongs confusion of faith. That's our problem today. We are confused among all the nations today. We are so confused, and then even in our confusion, we try to intellectualize it away. You're not going to intellectualize away your confusion in Yah's word. You hear what I say? The Torah of Yah covers every single solitary aspect of our being. Yah is not a dictator. He gave unto us a tav way of life. He gave you a perfect way of life that, when kept, leads unto eternal life. That's what it leads unto. People they run their mouths so good. Well, then why are people still dying? Shut up, man. Shut up, man. Sit down before you hurt yourself. Some people are just that crazy, man. Some people's minds are just so warped that if you leave them alone, they damage themselves. Yah warns us in Psalm 32. He tell you now, don't be like the horse and the mule now, which have no understanding. He says, but they need bit and bridle in their mouth to be guided about. Then he says, don't be like them, lest they come nigh unto you. Meaning, I'll put that stupid animalistic spirit on you, and you'll need that. Come on now. Look at our men and boys today. You don't think they need something to guide them? Why does the man got to bring them in the courthouse chained up? Come on now. You take a car and run it down a residential neighborhood, speed limit 25. You come flying in there 100 miles an hour. Run into somebody, kill 4 or 5 people, jump right out the thing and run away. Devil, keep that vessel protected. Innocent person didn't come to know Yah, or if it was their time, they died. But the devil, protect his child, jump right out and keep on going. Go and do evil the next day, and the day after that, and the day after that, and think that they're getting away. And we act as if we don't know how to address it. We don't know how to address it because we don't know how to find it in Yah's word. Nobody gets away. Ha-MessiYah is going to rule. To Yahweh, our Mighty One, belongs mercy, hasid, and forgiveness. You hear that? Though we have rebelled against him. It says to him, that's where it belongs. Neither have we obeyed the voice of Yahweh, our Mighty One, to walk in his laws, which he set before us by his servants, the prophets. Here's where you make your phone call. Call 911 now. Look at this 11th verse. Yeah, all Yahshua has transgressed your Torah, even by departing, that they might not obey your voice. Therefore, the curse is poured upon us. And though it says curse, it's not singular. It's plural. It just means the curse of the Torah. Everything Yah said that you wouldn't do, he included it in one aspect or one dynamic of his word. Though it's a multiplicity of things, he includes it. He says the curse is poured upon us, and the oath that is written in the Torah of Moshe, the servant of Yahweh, because we have sinned against him. Now look, I'm going to throw this word out real quick. You all go look this up at your own convenience. There's this word here, the curse. A-L-A-H. Allah. That's all I'm going to say. You go look it up later. You come on back to me and talk to me about that. Now, I know some of you that are listening, you may not believe this particular way of life, but you go look that up. You grab the best that you can. You look up, you get yourself a good concordance. You just look some of these words up sometime. You're going to find that the God of this world has deceived us. He's got us calling on some of the most damnable pagan things. And that's why it is imperative that Yah's people start looking and searching out the language of your forefathers. There's a reason why Yah says at the appointed time, then will he turn to the people of pure language. You tried to get people to see and understand, just like a storm that takes place in the coast of California. They say it's sweeping the nation. It takes a few days before it gets to you. Well, the Ruach of Almighty Yah's word is the same way. He can span the course of time, and he can take the years that Yah decides for it to fall upon whatever particular nation he is, just like that storm. When it's time for it to come, it will arrive. Are you listening? Somebody's got to say that to the people of Yah to help us along the way and to remember to pray for one another. Stop acting as if we're already so perfect or as if we have arrived. Don't act as if we're on top of the mountain when the reality is that we're in the depth of the valley and have yet to see Yah's word. Come on now. We got to work together on this thing. He called a nation. So he says that we have sinned against him and have confirmed his words, which he spake against us, against our judges that judged us, by bringing upon us a great evil. For under the whole heaven, listen, for under the whole heaven have not been done, as have been done upon Jerusalem. So no nation on the face of this earth can claim to have gone through what Yah's land went through. I don't care who you are. You can go in there and steal the land and set up edicts and say you're the people of Yahweh. You can do whatever you want to do. No nation, no land has gone through what Yahweh's people have gone through like that. Nobody scattered the Russians around the face of this earth. Nobody scattered the Germans around the face of this earth. Nobody scattered the Americans around the face of this earth. Nobody scattered the Japanese. Nobody scattered the Scandinavian. Nobody scattered the Australian. They did not do it. It was done unto Yahshua. You're not going to take credit for Yah's work. We're not going to let you take credit for the work that Almighty Yahweh done. This was his doings. No nation suffered the way Yahweh's nation suffered, because no nation transgressed the way Yahweh's nation transgressed, because Yahweh spoke to no other nation but Yisrael. Does that make any sense? He called his people. Therefore, this thing is so serious, you ain't got time to be worrying about your voter registration card. You have been voted for if you keep Yah's Torah like you ought to. He says that you are his elect. You have been voted for. The only ballot that was cast by the maker of all things. Does that make sense? We get out and register to vote. People say, I want a voice in my community. A woman told me that many years ago. Well, I vote because I want a voice in my community. You want a voice in your community? Go home, go up on the second floor, raise the window, and yell out whatever it is that you want to say. That is a voice in the community, because it's the same equivalency. It's the same thing. Yah has a voice, and it's going to be heard. And the book says all the world will hear it. I want to be clear on that. That makes sense? So now when we deal with the question, and the question was, why do the heathen rage? And the people imagine a vain thing. But if we're looking at Daniel 9 very close, Israel was imagining a vain thing too, because we did not listen to the prophets. We did not keep his Torah. We departed. We transgressed. So we raged too. So this type of message is to help us come to our senses. I hope you're understanding what I'm saying. We're not going to rage against Yahweh. Yahweh is not the machine that the world should be raging against. No, that's not what you rage against. And what we ought to do is wage, W-A-G-E, wage our war against it by turning unto Almighty Yah, keeping his Torah. Come up out of this world. Pay the things that they do no mind. Divest yourself of it as best as you can and draw closer and closer unto Yah with each and every passing day. That's what Israel must learn to do. Nobody want to talk about that. We want to be in the world and be Yahweh's people too. You're not going to be both, my friend. Tell you right now. Yahweh's not Jack Daniel. Yahweh's not some loud, whatever you call the weed today. He's not some buzz. He's not a bag of blow. He's beyond those simplistic things of man's wicked, twisted, demented mind. Do you hear me? Let's do this. I got a little time. Let's go back to Psalms 2. Close out this section here on the question. He asks, why do the heathens rage? And he goes further and says, he that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh. Yahweh shall have them in derision. He's like, ha, you think you're going to surpass me? He says he'll have them in derision. He will deride them. He will ridicule them. He will bust them down and embarrass them. Then shall he speak unto them in his wrath and vex them in his sore displeasure. He is displeased with the nations and their behavior. That's what the scripture says. It says that Yahweh is angry every day with the wicked. That's what the book says. It says he's angry with them every day. So how then can the nations get around here and think, he love everybody? That's all you always hear the people say. He love everybody. Well, hey, the historic record shows that he compared Israel to a flower in the field. That he compared Israel to a grape from the vine. Notice, they say a cluster, they say a grape. One grape. One flower. So it says, let all that be destroyed, that my grape might be delivered. That my flower from the forest might be delivered. Let all the rest of it, let it die. That's what the book says. And you know what's interesting about this? People will debate that. They'll challenge that. They'll contradict that. So I won't go there right now. Let the debates hang out there. You know how they do at the airport. The planes come in back to back. One land, here come another land. But then when there's a delay, they got to keep circling. So you let them circle till y'all say you come back and you clarify that. You go back in the lost book and you read that to the people and show them how y'all told the messenger, it's enough. You teach Israel. And those that are mine that turn from transgression, I'll deliver them. I'll spare them. As a man spares his only son. He said, I'll spare them. People don't know that. He says when he makes up his jewel, Israel is like a crown on the jewel, a jewel on the crown of Yah. That's what he compared us to. Come on now. We don't like to be lifted up in that manner because Yah says you're going to have to obey, man. This thing is deeper than what we just think that we are. Oh, I think I got it. Come on now. The declaration. Let's get into that. Because Yah declared something. And what Yah has declared has to be dealt with. Let me do this. Verse 6, Psalm 2, he says, here's the declaration. Yet have I set my king upon my Kodesh hill of Zion. Now I like that. See how he declared it? He says, the nations are going to rise up against them. He will laugh at them. He will have them in division. Then he will speak unto them in his wrath and in his sore displeasure. But then he declares, yet have I set my king upon my Kodesh hill of Zion. Now, let's talk about a martyr for Yahshua. This is beautiful here, man. There was a man who was a martyr for Yahshua. He was a martyr for Yahshua roughly 700 and some odd years before he was even born. Because he had the testimony of Yahshua and he understood the profound nature of Yahshua's coming. You got to hear this now. He understood. He saw into it. He saw into the edict by which Yahshua would even come. That's serious, man. Where are the men today that Yah is speaking to the mind of the messengers as a Nabi to help open up the understanding? Yahshua's the only one who can open up the book. If he's the only one that can even open up the book, then he's the only one that can open up our minds so that we might be able to understand. Is that not what the book of Peter says? Come on, Keeper says, of which salvations the prophets inquired. It says, diligently, searching out what manner of time and the spirit of Yahshua that was in them. So then he opened their understanding. Did y'all catch that? Let's go a little deeper. Y'all all right? Let me see if I got this straight. Man was created. And then Yah breathed the breath of life in him. And he became a living soul. Where'd we read that? So then to open the understanding of the apostles, Ha-MessiYah, the book says he breathed upon the apostles. Get that? He breathed upon them. And he said unto them, receive ye the Ruach HaKodesh. Receive it. Just by breathing on them. Did you all get that? Come on, man. Let's delve into what this messenger of Yah had to say. Stand still for him. Go to the ascension of Isaiah. Let's deal in that. Everybody all right? Just a small portion here. This is Yahshua, the ascension. Chapter 10. I'm going to let you know where I'm at. Verse 7. I want you to just listen, Yahshua. Hear what Yahweh expounded upon to the messenger. And I heard the voice of the Most High Yahweh, the Abba of my master Ha-MessiYah, as he said to my master Ha-MessiYah, who will be called the Son, go out and descend through all the heavens. You shall descend through the firmament and through that world as far as the angel who is in Sheol. You hear that? You go that far. But you shall not go as far as perdition, or in Hebrew, Abaddon. You will not go unto destruction. He said in the word, he will not suffer his Holy One to see corruption. His Kodesh one. He says, you go. Lay down your life. You die. Go to the grave. Go to Sheol. But don't go to destruction. Come on now. And you shall make your likeness like that of all who are in the 5 lower heavens. Did you hear that? And you shall take care to make your form like that of the angels of the firmament, and also like that of the angels who are in Sheol. He had to take on the form everywhere he went. Come on now. And none of the rulers of that world shall know that you are the master, Ha-MessiYah, with me of the 7 heavens and of their Malachim. They shall not know that you are with me until the voice of the heavens, until with the voice of the heavens I summon you. And their Malachim and their lights, when I lift up my voice to the 6th heaven, that you may judge and destroy the princes and the angels and the gods of that world, and the world which is ruled by them. You hear the power he invested in this man? For they have denied me and said, we are alone, and there is none else besides us. And afterward you shall ascend from the gods of death to your place, and you shall not be transformed in each of the heavens, but your grandeur, and in it you shall ascend and sit at my right hand. Then shall the princes and the powers and all the angels of that world worship you. This command I heard the great exaltation giving to my master, Ha-MessiYah. You hear that? That man heard Yah commission the coming of our great one. He heard Yah say that. That thing angered Shaitan so badly that he would come, and he and none of his angels that even abide in the firmament would recognize him as he passed through, as he dwelled upon the face of this earth, as he went all the way to the door of Sheol, and returned and resurrected, saying, all power in heaven and in earth is given in my hand. Talk about a declaration, Yisrael. Come on now. Now let's throw a point out here just for safety's sake. People wonder why they took these things from us. People wonder why they just threw out the 66 and y'all allowed them while keeping all these things hidden until the appointed time in the latter days to increase your faith and your understanding that you might come up, because as it is written in the word, though they mention all the messengers of Yah, it is written in the word that they without us should not be made perfect. Come on, man. They knew it. We had generations between them and us that didn't know it, and yet it was written. But here we are in the latter day. Ain't no generations coming behind us. There ain't no another 3, 4, 5, 600 years of this wicked world run. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. And it matters not that these nations don't believe the word of Yah. That doesn't even matter. Here's the key question that the people of Yah got to ask themselves. If there's nothing to this, if what we're preaching is foolishness and there's no truth behind it, why do the government agencies, FBI, NSA, CIA, why do you monitor the messages and the preaching of the people of Almighty Yahweh who take up no arms against you, but you monitor the messages of what we say? If there's no truth to it, leave it alone. Come on now. There's no truth to Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, and all, Charlie Brown. So we pay those things no mind. We don't spy on you to see how you rack those things up, how you design them, how you draw up the culture. We could care less because there's nothing to it. But come on now. If it pleased Yahweh by the foolishness of preaching to save them that believe, why is it then that those who do not believe monitor what we say? The scripture says that even the devils know of Almighty Yah and his son Yahshua. They fear and they tremble. That's what the book says. So if the devils fear and tremble, you think their children are going to do. The declaration. Yah says, I have set my king upon my Kodesh mountain. This thing is done deal, baby. You ain't going to change this. You're not going to stop this. You're not going to erase this. You're not going to back this up. You're not going to hold it up, because it is coming and it is at the appointed time that it shall speak and it will not tarry. Why would Israel keep messing around like that? We better get ourselves together while we still have that breath in our bodies. How about this? How about this? How about this? How about we pinpoint with precision the time frame? How can we do that? Let's go to the book of Daniel chapter 2. Let's get a precise time frame in our mind's eye. See, people don't like that, man. I'm telling you what I know. You don't have to open y'all's word and pick on anybody. I try to encourage young brothers today that, you stand firm in the word of Yah. A lot of brothers, they like to argue and debate. They want to use the word for sake of strife and debate. That's not what Yah commands that we do with the word. Now, come on. It's profitable for doctrine now, for reproof, for correction, for instruction and writing. But you don't go out there and just use the word just to debate and argue, just for sake of looking good. Come on. Now, you do well to just really be quiet, man. Come on now. You do well to just keep quiet. Listen to this, Daniel 2:40. I want you to understand how Yah blessed this man to see those world kingdoms. Now, this you can look up in the library and see it for yourself. It says, and the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron. For as much as the iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, and as iron that breaketh all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise. And whereas you saw the feet and the toes, part iron, part clay, mixed with miry clay. And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. He's describing something. Whereas you saw iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men. Oh, now here comes some interracial mingling now. They shall mingle themselves with the seed of men. but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. You hear that? That's all the nations are promoting today. Everybody intermarry. Everybody do this. Everybody do that. Yah mentions that his wrath will even be, Jeremiah 25, go look it up. He said that his wrath should even be among the mingled people. That's what the book says. I didn't write that. Yah made nations. He didn't say mud yourselves up. He made nations. And Israel is a nation. He made Israel, go back and read the book. He made them divorce and get rid of those foreign wives. Now, come on now. You go back and read real close in the book of Ezra and Nehemiah. Read it close. He made them get rid of those foreign nations now, because them nations come in and they bring their culture with them. This is why it is imperative that you as Yah's people keep his Torah. Because this Torah, this is your culture. This is your wisdom, your understanding in the sight of the nation. People don't realize this is bigger than religion, my dear friend. This is a way of life. Yah give his people salvation. It is a way of life. It is a culture. It is the only culture in the universe. Now I want you to hear this. This is precision here. Verse 44 says, and in the days of these kings shall the mighty one of heaven set up a kingdom. Look at this now. This is precision. In the days of these kings shall the mighty one of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed. And the kingdom shall not be left to other people. There are other people ruling Yah's kingdoms right now. He set up all this is his. But even this, these other people are ruling. He says his kingdom that Ha-MessiYah is going to set up shall not be left to other people. But it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms. And it shall stand forever. Did you hear that? He says it's going to stand forever. This is what the nations of the world don't like. This is what they don't even want you to really comprehend. His kingdom's going to stand forever. Not going to be ripping and running around. Every 4 years, got to change. Come on now. For as much as you saw that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it break in pieces, the iron, the brass, the clay, the silver, and the gold, the great mighty one hath made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter. And the dream is certain, and the interpretation of it is sure. It's going to come to pass. It's not going to sink. He says it's certain. So Yah's people need to take great delight in that. If this is the declaration, this is what Yah intends it to be. You don't have to wonder about it. You don't have to maybe about it. You don't have to guess. If this is what Yah says it's going to be, then this is what it is. Am I making sense? Come on, we talking about Ha-MessiYah's rule now. Let's do this. How about if we look at Matthew 24:29? Sometimes people, they don't know the dynamic of Yah's power. They don't understand. See, here's the fundamental point about Yahshua that people just forget, overlook, or they've never thought this through. Here's the fundamental point that they forget. He is a king. But he never ruled. So if he never ruled, when then will he rule? People don't think that thing through. That's why the book says, in the days of these kings. The apostles inquired. They wanted to know, will you restore the kingdom at this time? He let them know, no, it's not for you to know it right now. Come on. If you look at the works of the prophets and the apostles, in every generation, everybody, they were all given the message and the knowledge and the understanding for what Yah wanted them to understand for the age in which they lived. And even when they were seeing down the line of times, so much so that sometimes the messages and the visions and the things that Yah expounded upon to them, they still did not understand it, but it was to be understood by those who were to come after them at the times appointed by Almighty Yah himself. So Yah didn't diminish any of his word. People say, you hear preachers today, they say, oh, the book of Revelation is not to be understood. No, you're right, my friend. It's not to be understood by you. See, we follow the Lamb. Yah says, he is worthy to open the book. And if your name is written in the Lamb's book of life, if you study this book like you ought to, you'll know what the book of life is. This Torah leads Yah's people to life. This is the book of life. if we follow it like we ought to. Come on, man. They send people to school to read, to study, and to learn all these things, and they never comprehend this. They do not pick up on this. They do not grasp the dynamic of Almighty Yah's word. They believe in themselves and themselves alone. That's all they believe in. Let's pull this out. This is Matthew 24:29. I'm going to pull this together real quick. Y'all all right? Listen to what he says. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. Come on now. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall, listen, all the tribes of the earth mourn. Notice, not one or two. He says all the tribes of the earth mourn. And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. If you're going to use that word, let's put this thing in the proper context. His splendor, the honor of the beauty of his Kodesh state is something unlike this world has ever seen. There are no words to describe it. That's why he says that he's coming like that, and they're going to see it. And he shall send his Malachim with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect again. We're voting for the people of this world. When he has voted for you, he says he shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. And he's not referring to your mama and your daddy that died, and you say they went to heaven. That's not what he means. Under this earth, from one end of the heaven until the other, he's going to gather them. Come on now. He wants his people to be together, and he's going to put them together at his appointed time. Just as he scattered us because we would not obey, he's going to gather. He's going to do it at the appointed time. If we're not around and many of us fall asleep in Ha-MessiYah, then Kodesh, name of Yahweh, be Baruch forever. People today, they don't know Yah's word. They don't know the workings and the dealings of Almighty Yah because they don't take time to read his word. But everybody got something. The biggest thing going right now that messed us up in this world is the internet, man. The internet has made everybody an instantaneous expert in nothing. Everybody's an expert in nothing because they know everything. Come on now. Every age and every era of time, they kept right on doing the same thing. They repeatedly would burn up the books. They would destroy the library. They would tear up everything. Now this time, they're going to make everything digital. They're going to make everything one. You can go to the books. You can look up any book on any subject matter, anything you want. Just Google it, pull it up, and it pop up. But then again, I want to know about you. I want to know about you. I want to know about you. I can Google that. I can pull it up. I want to know how to make a bomb. I can go there and Google it. I can pull it up. I want to know how to kill someone. I can go there and Google it. I can pull it up. I want to know how to make alcohol. I want to know how to make drugs or whatever. I can go there, Google it, and pull it up. And with all this information, righteousness has not grown exponentially to cover the earth. So all knowledge, no matter how great or how grand, it's not tav. And there is no wisdom, understanding, or counsel against this book, the Torah of Almighty Yah. And we waste all our time. People spend years in schools of learning, going to get this degree, that degree, and this degree, when man of low degree is vanity, and a man of high degree is a lie. Weighed together in the balance, they're all lacking. Come on, man. You want to be wise men, you keep Yah's Torah. Does that make any sense to us? We're dealing with how Yahshua's going to rule. Let's go back. Look at this one. Isaiah 49:22. This ain't hard. Sometimes it's a matter of putting the content in the proper context. And that's what Yah wants his people to do. That's why he raised up messengers to emerge and teach his people. This stuff sitting right in the book. A lot of times people, they don't like it because it come a little too close to things that they've done. I don't worry about that. That word come close to what we've done, get right. That's the only alternative we have. Get right with Yahweh. You get right with him, you do it now. You don't keep on hesitating. You don't keep on waiting. I'm going to do it next week. No, you're not. Y'all looking for a job. You don't have one for weeks and months sometimes. The man calls, say, I hire you. I want you. When can I start? Tomorrow. I'll be there. Yah says, keep my commandments and live. Nobody even inquires, when can I start? Isaiah 49, thus saith Yahweh, behold, I will set up my hand to the Gentiles, meaning I'll stop them. I'll stop them at the appointed time. I will set up my standard to the people. You hear that? Yah's rules. His Torah. His rules. He says, I will set up my standard to the people. Listen to this now. They shall bring your sons in their arms, and your daughters shall be carried upon their shoulders. Hold now, wait a minute. You can't bring what's not in your possession. Did you hear me? You cannot bring what is not in your possession. So he says, your sons shall they bring in their arms, and your daughters shall be carried upon their shoulders. And their kings shall be your nursing fathers, and their queens your nursing mothers. They shall bow down to you with their face toward the earth, and lick up the dust of your feet. And they shall know that I am Yah. For you shall not be ashamed that wait for me. He said, you won't be ashamed. Just wait for me. You have to know what he has going and what's coming. Don't be ashamed. Wait for me. It's difficult to get the people of Yah to see and understand. We got to calm down. You got to wait on Almighty Yahweh. People always want to have something to talk about. Always want to be seen talking to you. Sometimes, man, you do well to just be quiet. Read that word, understand the things that Yah has commanded, and think on that. Meditate on that. That's enough in which we should travel with, man. That's all we got to do, man. It's difficult, man, when you try to get the people of Yah to see. We better come to do right by Yah. Listen, you're talking about Yahshua, reviewing how Yahshua will rule. Here's the point people forget. He's going to rule from sea to sea. People forget about that. You're going to be worrying about what China doing in Africa. You're going to be worrying about what Australia doing. You're going to be worrying about what they're doing in London. You're going to be worrying about America and all this other stupid stuff. Yahshua's going to rule. The book says he's going to rule from sea to sea. Let me get that just for safety's sake. This is what the world was enraged about. They were trying to stop this. Many of the nations were enraged and were confederate together and didn't even know that that's what they themselves were working on. Come on. They just have a spirit in their name that they just know that they're troubled. They just know that they want to stop something. They don't even understand the depth of what it is. They just know they're fighting something because they're diseased. Do you hear me? They're not at ease with the state of world affairs. And by being diseased, they just know to fight. They don't even understand the depth of what they're fighting. They just know to fight. Come on, man. Let's look at this thing real close. Psalm 72:1. Here we go. Give the king thy mitzvah, O Yahweh, and thy righteousness unto the king's son. He shall judge your people with righteousness, and your poor with judgment. The mountains, this is the symbolism now, the governments shall bring peace to the people, and the little hills by righteousness. That's local, national, that's international government. That's all he's using his euphemism for mountains and hills and things. It's talking about ruling. He shall judge the poor of the people. He shall save the children of the needy, and shall break in pieces the oppressor. People are complaining about the ruling elite and the ruling class and the rich getting richer, and they don't honor and they don't regard Yahweh. You can take to the streets and protest them all you want. This thing has to run its course. This is a kingdom that has to stand until Ha-MessiYah breaks it up. This thing is so important. It is imperative that the people of Yah start readying themselves for the kingdom to come, not worry about the kingdoms that are to go. Am I making sense? This is what the people of Yah should be focused in on. Quit worrying about what these nations going to do. Doesn't matter who gets in the seat. They win, you lose. You obey, you win eternally. There is a difference, and the difference is so dramatic that you had better pay attention to the eternal, everlasting life that Yah has promised unto Yisrael. They shall fear you as long as the sun and moon endure, throughout, look at this, throughout all generations. He shall come down like rain upon the mown grass, as showers that water the earth. In his days, look at this, notice the masculinity behind this. In his days shall the righteous flourish, and the abundance of peace, so long as the moon endureth. You hear that? He shall have dominion also I like this word. What did he do with man? Didn't he create him? He says, let him have dominion. Radah. Let him have it. From, look at this, sea to sea. From the river unto the ends of the earth. What river? I'm going to leave that right there. But he says, unto the ends of the earth. That's why the maps are on that wall. You look at that. He's got to rule that. Yah made this. And he's going to rule that. Ain't no corner of the earth going to get away. Somebody there in the kingdom. I never heard of Yahshua. Oh, no. Ain't going to be none of that. The beauty of Yah's word. He let even the word be translated into every known language on the face of this earth. People don't even take that into careful consideration. But he got little pockets of atheists over here with this belief system going on. Pockets of little devil worshippers over here with this belief system going on. Pockets of agnostics. They over here doubting different stuff. Look, where's your word that has stood the test of time? With all the religions and all the stuff that they're doing and what they're into, where then is your belief system? Where's your value system that allows you to do all that? Come on, man. People waste their time. They don't know and understand this. They that dwell in the wilderness shall bow before him, and his enemies shall lick the dust. You hear that? You're going to kiss them feet. You're going to bow before him. The kings of Tarshish and the isles shall bring presents. The kings of Sheba and Seba shall offer gifts. Yeah, you hear that? Yeah, all kings. I like this verse here. All kings shall fall down before him. All nations shall serve him. Hallelujah. All the names. This ain't Jesus, y'all. Camera might go in and out, but let me tell you right now, we're back at that point. Let's highlight in on that. This ain't Jesus, so don't you get happy now looking for some blonde-haired, blue-eyed white boy stand up there and save you. If you get offended about that, that's not my problem. This ain't Jesus. This is Yahshua. This is Yahshua Ha-MessiYah. And he's going to rule from sea to sea. A kingdom, as the book says, that shall never be destroyed. A kingdom that shall not be left to other people. The nations of the world have to come to understand today. That's why you got to be taken down, because you don't know how to rule. Righteous rule is not taught at Oxford. It's not taught at Harvard, Yale, Columbia, Princeton. It's not taught at any of the so-called most prestigious universities on the face of the earth. It's not taught there. In Psalm 73, the psalmist says, when I went into the sanctuary of Yahweh, then understood I their end. He said when he thought to know it, it was too painful for him. He had to go to the house of Yahweh where the messages were being preached like this so that people could understand. Time is of the essence now. And whether the world knows it or not, time is winding up. Yah's not playing. So when he tried to Israel, what are you so upset about now? We're always upset about something. We got this problem. We got that problem. We got this. You have Yahshua. Take it to him in prayer. And patiently wait on Yah. We got to remember now, when he called, we wouldn't answer. So then as soon as we get in trouble now, we expect to pray. And he just move. Because you praying. Hold now. When he called, you would not answer. Therefore, when you call, he says, I will not answer. He's right there. And then he turns right around and he reassures us in the word. The time is coming that when they call, I will answer while they are yet speaking. Come on, man. That is just so merciful. It is so beautiful the way that he's going to do it. But Yahweh, I need to. It's done. He's going to work for Israel like that. Our problem today, we don't believe him. We don't believe that he'll do it. We gossip too much about Yahweh's word. We don't trust him enough. We gossip about it. You got to shut up with all that. We got to take that yoke upon you. You got to come to know Yah's word. You got to draw closer to Yah where you know him and know him for yourself. That's the one thing we don't want to do. We don't want to do that. We leave all that alone. Let me get this in here. You got to hear this. We say how he's going to rule. Isaiah 60 and 9. He says, chapter 60, verse 9 through 12. I want you to listen to what he says. Surely the isles shall wait for me, and the ships of Tarshish first, to bring your sons from far. Still talking about them sons. Their silver and their gold with them. Now look, this is possessive now. The silver is yours. The gold is yours. He says, when they bring you, it's going to come with you unto the name of Yahweh, unto the Kodesh one of Yisrael, because he hath glorified thee. He hath magnified. He has promoted you. Listen, and the sons of strangers shall build up your walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. This don't mean preach. You're going to help. That's all ministers are. They're helpers. He says they shall minister unto thee. They're going to help you. You tore it down after all. Come on now, nations. You know you did this. You're not going to get around Yah's word. Fight as you may. You're not going to avoid this. And their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote you. Look at Yahweh. He says, in my wrath I smote you. But in my favor, or in my unmerited favor, have I had hashid, or mercy on you. For this cause, your gates shall be opened continually. They shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto you the forces of the Gentiles, and that their kings may be brought. You hear that? You all don't know. Israel is an anointed nation. Ha-MessiYah is the anointed one. You're not going to have one without the other. For the nation and kingdom that will not serve you shall perish. You hear that? Yeah. Those nations shall be utterly wasted. He's not playing. He's not playing with these nations of the world. If they don't serve Ha-MessiYah, they're going to be utterly wasted. You're going to be destroyed. Zechariah 14 shows you're going to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. You're going to keep Sukkah. You're going to come to that land, and you're going to obey those rules. Don't nobody want to talk about that. We get in here talking about some old Merry Christmas. Shut your mouth. You're going to keep Yah's Torah the way that he intends it to be done. Everybody standing around today worrying about, oh, I need my preparations, or I need this, I need that. Listen, listen, listen. The biggest victim in all this is Yahweh himself. His entire creation has gone awry. No one nation is going to take responsibility for all the things that have gone down. No one nation is going to take more pain upon themselves than Yah's people. No. But the biggest victim in all this is Yahweh himself, because his whole creation has gone awry. Whole creation. Let me get this in. Y'all all right? I got a few minutes here. Let's get this in. Let's deal with the warning. Y'all all right? Let's go and look at that. Psalm 2, verse 7. I will declare the decree. Yahweh have said unto me, you are my son. This day have I begotten you. Ask of me, and I will give unto you the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for your possession. And you shall break them with a rod of iron, and you shall dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. You hear that? He's going to rule. I laid it out for you. I showed you in the declaration. He declared that Yahshua is king and that Yahshua is going to rule. He's going to rule from sea to sea. All nations and kingdoms are going to obey him. If they don't obey, they will be utterly wasted. The declaration. Who can argue with Yah's word? Then we might as well hear the warning. Listen to this. This is the part I like. I like the way Yah talks to him. You ever see somebody, they talk real tough to you, but they never really get emotional? He says, now look here. You get that payment in here by 12 noon. We're going to come and repossess that car. You get that payment in here. We're going to foreclose on that house. They give you a time. They don't keep on standing there arguing with you. They let you know you got a deadline. I want you to hear Yah how he sets a deadline. He gives the nations a warning. I want you to listen to the way he talks. He says, be wise now, therefore, O ye kings. Be instructed, ye judges of the earth. Meaning, you better take note. You better be wise. You better pay attention to what I say. Serve Yahweh with fear and rejoice with trembling. Kiss the Son, lest he be angry, and ye perish from the way, when his wrath is kindled. What a little, just a little bit. You better watch your step. Baruch are all they that put their trust in him. You hear that? That's the warning. He said, be wise. They didn't know. They thought themselves wise. They thought they knew. They didn't know. Let's do this. Let's go back. Let's look at the book of John, chapter 7. I'm going to show you something. They thought themselves to be wise. John 7:42. Let's look at this real close here. And many of the people, therefore, when they heard this saying, said, of a truth, this is a prophet. Others said, this is the Messiah. But some said, shall the Messiah come out of Galilee? Have not the scripture said that the Messiah cometh of the seed of David, and out of the town of Bethlehem, where David was? So there was a division among the people because of him. And some of them would have taken him, but no man laid hands on him. Then came the officers to the chief priests and the Pharisees, and they said unto them, why have you not brought him? The officers answered and said, never spoke a man like this. Then they answered to the Pharisees and said, are you also deceived? See, in other words, they were angry with him. They're like, what in the world's wrong with you? You didn't get that man to bring him here? You fooled by him too? Devil standing there lying, twisting the facts. Have any of the rulers or the Pharisees believed on him? You hear their question? They wanted to know. But he warned them, be wise, O kings, be instructed, ye judges of the earth. So when he came, look at their behavior. They asked him, are you also deceived? Have any of the rulers of the Pharisees believed on him? But this people, who know not the Torah, are cursed. Did they know the Torah? If they did, they wouldn't have had their hands involved. Now, it had to be done to fulfill the word of Yah. But there were many people that were around him that believed. They're not being held responsible for this. They believe. But now look how they act. Are you deceived also? So he says, be wise, O kings. Be instructed, ye judges of the... Let's do this. Let me show you something now. Because, see, Yah's word ain't accepting the personage of men now. He warned Israel about that. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 1. You ain't got to turn far in the book. 1 Corinthians, right there, the first chapter. 1:18. I want you to look at this now. Nations today, they think themselves so wise, so much better than Yahweh himself. For the preaching of the suffering is to them that perish foolishness. But unto us which are delivered, it is the power of Yahweh. That's what delivers you. Yah's word and the preaching of his word is the power of Yahweh that brings about our deliverance. It has nothing to do with how eloquent of an orator one is. It has nothing to do with how much of a tithing or an offering a person leaves. Come on, it's our adherence unto his Torah. For it is written, I will destroy the wisdom of the wise and bring to nothing the understanding of the prudent. Look at them today. They have wisdom to go all out into space, to go all under the sea, to build all types of technological advancements and development. You can't take anything from them. But they don't have the wisdom to sit down and look into Yah's word and to obey and to believe that in Yah, Yah can do all things. They don't even believe Yahweh. They trust in themselves. Where is the wise? Where is the scribe? Where is the disputer of this world? Has not Yahweh made foolish the wisdom of this world? Didn't he make their wisdom foolish? Look at all the stupid stuff they make. Let me see if I got this straight. You're two nations, you're mad with each other. You go to war, you fight. You take men that you pay to just sit and think all day. Think up evil stuff. We need a weapon that can wipe them out instantly. Go figure that out. Somebody come up with a bomb. Well, you know, if you fly over them and you drop this, when it explodes, it kills everything. Really? Does it work? Yeah, good. Use it. They're wise enough in their evil to come up with that. But now Yah says in Revelation 11:18, he shall destroy them that destroy the earth. So now he says here, he has made foolish the wisdom of the world. These men are wise in what they do. They're wicked, but they're wickedly wise. For after that, in the wisdom of Yahweh, the world by wisdom didn't know him. Isn't that something? With all the knowledge that all men have, their knowledge, that so-called good and evil, whatever they have, you got it from Yah. Shaitan magnified it, but he allowed him to give it to you. So come on now. For after the wisdom of the world, Yahweh, by the wisdom of Yahweh, they didn't know him. It pleased Yahweh by the foolishness of preaching to save them. This way, little brother. To save them. This way, little brother. Right here. Adam. Right here. Adam. Right here. Right there. Go that way. Go right. No. Adam, go right there. Go right there. There you go. So it pleased Yah to save them that believe by preaching. Come on, the nations today, they don't even realize that. This is what y'all did. Let's jump down. Y'all ready? Y'all all right? Because the foolishness of Yahweh is wiser than men, and the weakness of Yahweh is stronger than men. For you see your calling, brethren, how that not many wise men after the flesh, not many mighty, not many noble are called. Any presidents of a nation in here today? Any mayors of any cities here today? Any governors of any state here today? You see your calling, am I correct? You all see your calling? He says, not many wise men after the flesh, but Yahweh have chosen the foolish things of the world to confound the wise. And Yahweh has chosen the weak things of the world to confound the things which are mighty. Come on now. They don't even know him. And the base things of the world and things which are despised has Yahweh chosen. Preaching is the route he chose. Teaching is the route he chose. Adherence to his Torah is the route that he chose. People don't like that. They don't want that. So then they raged against that. They imagined a vain thing. They're going to cut Israel off. They're going to cut Ha-MessiYah off. They're going to do it themselves when he made them. And they don't even see the stupidity behind what they've done. So then you have to get on Yahshua and say, we have to do better. It does not matter what the world does. We have to draw closer to Yah and be sincere about it. We have to be perfect before Yah in this. Does it make sense? Come on, man. So, the things which are despised, Yahweh chose. Yeah. Things which are not, to bring to naught things that are. That no flesh should glory in his presence. Ain't nobody going to stand around. I know I kept it. I know I'm holy. Sit down, shut your mouth. But of him are ye in the Messiah, Yahshua, who of Yahweh is made unto us. Wisdom, did you hear that? Yahshua is made of Yahweh unto us. Wisdom and righteousness and sanctification and redemption. That according as it is written, let him that glory in Yahweh. That he knows and understands me. That's all the person needs to take delight in. Come on, man. The world doesn't want to hear that. They don't want the people of Yah to comprehend that. They don't want the people of Yah to know that. They don't want them to even see that. Now, you know you're in a very bad state of affairs. Anytime you don't want to walk in the ways of salvation. And will set up entire societies, entire so-called civilizations, designed exclusively to block the way to salvation. You know you're in an evil world. Anytime that's how the whole order of the planet is configured. This is nothing to play with, ladies. This is nothing to disrespect, men. This is nothing to despise, children. This is nothing to snicker at. This is the most serious aspect in all the universe. Yisrael's relationship with Yahweh. Yahweh is not a God that we can just talk tough and act like we know and go on. He sees all things. He knows the deepest, darkest thoughts of our life. The innermost being, the most personal aspect of us all. He knows that. He knew we were going to transgress. He knew everything about us that there was, but he also gave us that free will to make that choice as to whether or not we're going to walk with him and be perfect, or if we're just going to keep on playing. Does that make any sense? Y'all knows. That's why I tried to strengthen us and to encourage us here and to encourage us beyond recognition. We got to do better than what we do, man. But all at the same time, I got to let you know, and I got to understand, I ain't looking for no great numbers. Ain't going to be no big crowds now. Don't go wasting time thinking you're going to pack the house, standing room only. They're reaching all the way across the street, down the Run the Mills Mall, out to Security Mall. And no need of you thinking it's going to happen like that. Y'all says a remnant, a small. You go out and buy a car, you say, I want to buy a remnant. It's a small piece, isn't it? It's not the whole thing. It's not wall to wall. It's a piece. A remnant, a few. Yah says in his word that the city that went out 1,000 shall return 100. And that which went out 100 shall return 1/10 to the house of Israel. Come on, man. That's 90%. Not making it. And then the 10% that say that they're Yah's people, come on, man. We better strive to do this thing. I'm going to highlight something. I got a couple of minutes. They haven't notified me yet. Let me highlight something. How about this? Let's go to the book. This is your credit card book here. This is the book of the Hebrews. This is a letter to Yah's people. Don't be a Hebrew without having read it. How's that? They tell you credit card, don't leave home without it. Don't be a Hebrew without having read the letter to yourselves. He wrote a letter to you. You hear me? Yah's people, they don't pay attention to the things that Yah did. Listen to this. This is Hebrews 5. Yahshua didn't go around bragging about all the greatness and the thing. He did the work. He didn't go around bragging about it, acting as if he was high and mighty and above everybody. Look at how they describe him. Look at how the Apostle Shaul describes him. Listen to this. Hebrews 5:5. So also, Ha-MessiYah glorified not himself to be made an high priest. In other words, he didn't pump himself up. I'm reverend this and that. He didn't pump himself up. He glorified not himself to be made an high priest. But he that said unto him, you are my son. Today have I begotten you. As he said also in another place, you are a priest. You are a Kohanim forever. After the order of Melchizedek, who in the days of his flesh, when he had offered up prayers and supplications with strong crying and tears unto him that was able to save him from death, and was heard in that he feared. You hear that? He was heard in that he reverenced, he honored, he respected, he revered, he obeyed. He was heard in that. Though he were a son, yet learned he obedience by the things which he suffered. See, we keep suffering and don't learn nothing from it. We got to take example from Ha-MessiYah. He learned obedience by the things that he suffered. Torah. And look at this. Being made perfect, he became the author of eternal salvation unto all them that obey him. How simple is that? It's just this. He learned obedience by the things that he suffered. And being made perfect, he became the author of eternal salvation. The author of eternal salvation unto everyone that believes. Do you obey? Do you believe? Called of Yahweh, a high Kohanim, after the order of Melchizedek. You know what it said about him. No ending of days, no beginning of days, no father, no mother. All this come on from eternity, from everlasting to everlasting. Look, Ha-MessiYah. Of whom, look, I like the way the apostle says this. Of whom we have many things to say, and hard to be uttered. Seeing you are dull of hearing. Come on. You ever heard the old folks say, the more I teach you, the dumber I get? All that means is that you try to explain a thing that a person cannot comprehend. So then what you're explaining on this hand, you don't have to take it. You have to break it down and explain it here in simpler terms. And they still don't comprehend it. So then you have to take all that there. You have to step over here. You got to break that down in simpler, even simpler terms. And they still don't get that. So then you have to break that down, and you go on and on. And so after a while, something so beautiful, so splendid, so magnificent, you have to keep breaking it down and down and down and down until after a while, there's no way to explain it, almost as if explaining it unto a fool. You hear that? Look at the verse. Of whom we have many things to say and are hard to be uttered, seeing you're so dull of hearing. You tell people time and time, quit playing with Yahweh. Stop doing that. Keep the Torah of Yahweh. Do it this way. Keep right on doing the same old things. For in the time when you ought to be teachers, you have need that one teach you again, which be the first principles of the oracles of Yahweh, and are become such as have need of milk and not strong meat. A lot of times people, they like to go into the books and grab those high, deep mysteries of Yah's word and think that they're expounding and teaching people. See, a lot of times men like to do that to captivate people's minds and attention and to make themselves appear wise. As long as they feel as though they have a level of grandeur above you, they think that they're doing something. But if we're not saving souls, as the word of Yah says, it pleased Yahweh by the foolishness of preaching. The Apostle Shaul said, we don't come with the wisdom of man's words that he teaches in, having to use all these big words. I must exegete it to you, and I must break down the doctrinal lineage of the exponential growth of the word. Shut up! Make the word of Yah plain unto the people of Israel. The scripture says, write the vision and make it plain. That's what he said in the book. That he that reads may run. Where you're going to run? You're going to run to the house or to the Beit of Yah, that you may take the yoke upon you and learn of me. That's what he said. So Yah gave the warning. He told those kings, you be wise. But the world is governed by men, by kings, by rulers. They set the tone and the precedent for the people. So then somebody's got to pay. That doesn't mean that the rulers are going to pay by themselves. If we follow the road, the rules, the regulations, and the conduct of these nations, we too shall pay. But Yah sent his only begotten now. He told us what to do. Can I tell you what he said do? Revelations 22:14. This is what he said do. This is what we're told to do. Baruch, blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life and may enter in through the gates into the city. See how you don't have to go protest Yahweh? You don't need no sign to fuss with him. You don't need to organize no buses. You don't need no march. You come to Almighty Yahweh and you keep his commandments. Look at what it says. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right. People are marching for their right. People that don't even have a right. You got the gays, you got the lesbians, you got the transgendered, you got the transmuted, you got everything. Everybody marching for their rights. But look at this here. You don't have to go nowhere but to the Beit of Yah. And you have a right to the tree of life and may enter into the gates, into the city. You're reviewing how Yahshua is going to rule. The book says he's going to rule from sea to sea. I like that. I'm tired of Obama rule. I'm tired of Bush rule. I'm tired of Clinton rule. I'm tired of Reagan rule. Carter rule. We can go on back. Washington, Jefferson, Adams. We can come on forward. We can go all between them. Queen of England, King to be, whatever it is. South Africa, Australia, Russia, China, wherever. We're tired of their rule. And we should be, rightly so. We're defining how Ha-MessiYah is going to rule. Again, I say, the book says, from sea to sea, from everlasting to everlasting. Come on, man. Who needs any more than that? Those voter registration cards, man, you can tear that crap up. Y'all did the voting. And if we do the obeying, we are his elect. I pray to Yah that makes sense, Yahshua. I thank you for your time. I thank y'all for your patience, for your ability to sit still long enough to hear me. I told y'all for those of you by way of the live stream that have joined us, as well as those that have sent letters. I have received your letters, your offerings, the things to help, to further the word of Almighty Yah. We told y'all even for that. We told y'all for the help and being able to be on the air to deliver word of Yah as best we can. We told y'all for the kindness and the patience, for the prayers of all Israel, wherever we are, as we are scattered throughout the face of this entire earth. We told y'all for you all. Keep us in your prayers. If you're in the Baltimore, Washington corridor at any given time, our services begin here at 6515 Harford Road. We try to begin each and every Shabbat Eve at 7:30. And on the Shabbat day at 11 a.m., you're more than welcome to stop by here at 6515 Harford Road, Baltimore, Maryland. You're able to even reach me direct. You can call me at 443-326-2565. I'll do the best that I can to send out information packets to answer your questions, your calls, whatever it may be. But we told y'all for the kindness of this Shabbat. Enjoy the blessedness of this day, for it is a day that Yah has made, and he has granted unto Israel this day as a sign between himself and the children of Israel forever. I told Yah for that. Israel, let us do this as we stand in prayer. Let's close by standing in prayer, and we'll turn and face the east. Abba Yahweh, we come before you as we total you for the greatness of this gift of life that you have bestowed upon us as your people. We ask of you in the name of Yahshua Ha-MessiYah that we continue to be able to walk up before you in a manner that's clean, honorable, and acceptable in your sight. We ask in Yahshua's holy and everlasting name that you drive out every evil, foul, and unclean spirit, casting those things far from us, that we may be able to walk up before you at all times in a manner that's clean, honorable, and acceptable in your sight. Wherever your people are scattered throughout the face of this entire earth, in Yahshua HaMashiach's name, we pray that you have mercy upon many of those that are sick, those that are downtrodden, some that are in prison without due and just cause. Whatsoever the trials and the tribulation may be, we know that you know more about it than we're even capable of uttering out of our mouths. But we ask of you in Yahshua HaMashiach's name to please be with Yisrael wherever we are scattered. Bring us all according to the greatness of your Torah on one accord, so that at their great and honorable day, we're able to stand and to hear you say, well done, my good and faithful servants. This blessed Almighty Yah, we beg of you in the name of Yahshua HaMashiach's name we pray, that they simply say, hallelujah.